All right, guys, welcome to the Media Hijack podcast. I'm your host, Billy Walters, and joining me is Chris, Unholy Jesus.
What's up, universe? What's good?
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Media Hijacked, episode number 55.
Oh, yeah, checking along.
The big 5-5. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about Metal Gear Solid Conspiracy, which is Metal Gear Solid is a game. Came out like early 90s, right?
98.
Like
the one
Super
with
Nintendo.
Well, originally, yeah, the original one came out early 90s, but the one we're going to focus on today mainly is going to be
The PlayStation 1.
the PlayStation 1, like classic Metal Gear Solid story arc with like cloning and stuff like that.
So we're going to talk about that because they got a lot of conspiracy that ties in with the game, and Chris is going to cover some of that stuff because some of that stuff is actually like real now.
Yeah, it's almost some people like the guy who created like the Metal Gear franchise, Hideo Kojima. It's considered like, cause some people consider him like almost kind of like prophetic because prophetic, I guess, or prophecy or whatever how you say the word. But basically, like he's like Negro Domus for like weird kind of like technology stuff like that. Like like back then in '98, he knew a lot of shit about cloning. Where back then is like maybe some people knew about it, but
he was on the inside.
He takes a step further and talks about the future of how it's going to have an effect on war and humanity as a whole. So,
yeah, they talk about stuff like with nanotechnology also, which is a thing right now.
Yes, it is.
And also like genetically modifying DNA.
Yes,
which is also a thing.
It's huge in the franchise.
Yeah, and they spoke about all this stuff in a game, guys, a video game somewhere. Kids are playing out there and they're wondering, hey, what's all this stuff about patriots and stuff and genetically modifying DNA?
Okay.
It's weird to put that in a game, right?
It's a lot.
Unless you know something, unless you're hiding something in plain sight and you want this new generation to see it. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you see it in the game, you wouldn't just believe something like that is real.
Nah, but if you have an idea of like certain things in history, because they have like within the franchise, they'll have like real world historical events and it kind of combines with what's happening in the game, which I'm going to talk about a real world shit that did happen and affected a shit ton of Americans that did this. And the game kind of says like, yeah, this is what the media told you, but in Metal Gear Solid universe, this is what really happened with this said situation. So that's a whole nother thing.
I guess it's like another way like they can tell a real story without getting in trouble, like writing a book. About like a story like that. They said, hey, you know,
just slip it into a game.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, like, we know the true story. Let's just put it in a game because who's going to believe it anyway? Mm-hmm. Right.
They'd be like, while everybody else is distracted while Congress and the government is distracted by GTA and shooting prostitutes and shit, we're going to slide this conspiracy in there, you know.
Put it in the game.
Some Illuminati shit.
It's like for future reference where people can go back and check, like, oh, yeah, they were giving us clues like every single step of the way.
And people are still doing this shit to this day, going back to like analyzing Metal Gear Solid, the series as a whole. And like, holy fuck, that this is kind of...
It was in front of us the whole time.
He was trying to tell us. I was going to read the chat right quick because I saw... Oh, yeah, Robert says, what about part 2? Okay, so part 2 of Metal Gear Solid is...
Wait, hold on. Are we starting?
No. I'm going to explain why I'm not going to do part 2, Metal Gear Solid, Sons of the Patriots. Is that the second one? No, that's...
Yeah, that is the second one.
Okay, I'm getting so lost. Because that deals with like simulation and what's real and what's not. And that's a whole nother... We can do whole nother episode about that in itself because it's fucking...
You catch that on the Patreon?
Yes. Yeah, you get down to Patreon. If you want to hear it, there's a paywall.
Okay, cool. And also, we're going to be talking about human cloning. Like, I know about this secret cloning site out in Canada.
Oh, you heard about that?
Yeah, Clonaid.
Yes.
it's wild.
I came across it today. I just found it today.
It's fucking wild,
I can't wait to get to that. Cool.
Everything like with cloning and time travel and everything, it all goes back to Hitler, dude. To Adolf Hitler. The 1940s.
This is the problematic.
Something about Hitler, dude. Like, what I'm about to say about Hitler, it might get me crucified. But Hitler...
It's been fun, guys.
In the last 200 years... The most important human being in the last 200 years
Don't say it.
is Adolf Hitler, dude.
I'm not going to co-sign that, guys, per se.
And just stick around for the episode. I'm going to tell you why.
But yeah, of course, like...
I'll reel you in. Don't cancel me yet. I'll reel you in like
that.
that. Yeah. But I'll tell you why. Like, he's the most important man, like, in the last 200 years that made a big difference.
Because I see what you're saying.
Not just killing people, like, with everything.
Like, that was fucked up, right? We can all agree on that. But scientific advanced. Like
Yeah,
we'll get to it. I know what you're saying. I get what
Like
you're saying.
he played a role. He's evil, but he played a role, a very important role that allows us to be here in the exact time right now.
Hey, why do you think?
Because of what he did.
Why do you think the U.S. was taking on them German scientists? Just saying.
Wait till you hear what I'm gonna tell you. What the hell he did?
Let's get
This
it.
guy, he been bad.
Now you have to come good. Now you have to come strong later on
He woke
with some
up
evidence
bad.
because you have to clear your name. Starting off with Hitler's
The most important man in the world.
You got to clear your name at the end of this, at least.
No, you'll understand.
Yeah,
why.
but I get it. No, for real.
I hope I remember by the third bottle. But all right, guys. All right, so okay, before we get started, if you guys want to buy some t-shirts, head over to the MediaHijack.com. Grab you a Media Hijack official t-shirt. Chris has one on. And if he has one, you guys got to have one too.
Oh, yeah.
Also, don't forget to rate and subscribe to iTunes, people. Just go scroll down, hit the 5-star, subscribe, leave a comment. We need more comments. Also, YouTube, you want to watch us live video, well, not live video, the replay video of this live podcast on Twitch. Just head over to our YouTube. I left all the links. Also, Reddit, become a member. We also post like show events or when we're doing a show or what the topic is.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. Ready?
Let's
Get started. All right.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to start with Metal Gear Solid conspiracies.
All right, so Metal Gear Solid. For anybody who's a huge, like, this is one of them games that came out back in 98, back during the old school gray PlayStation that looked like a soap bar. Classic shit.
It didn't look like a soap bar to me.
I mean, just the shape of it. It was like a square. I mean, I don't know. It looked nice back then.
It was nice.
But back then, huge game came out back in 98. A stealth action game in 3D with top buffer camera. Never been done. Well, top buffer camera's been done before, but it's the first time a stealth game was doing it in 3D. So it was amazing. The graphics was awesome at the time. Even though they look silly now, it was amazing for its time. Excellent storytelling, but the game mainly revolves around just like a terrorist group, kind of just taking over a site called Shadow Moses Island. I think it might be somewhere up near, I guess like maybe the Russia or Alaska area. But anyways, hostages terrorists take it over. Blah blah blah. Long story short, entering the protagonist of the series is Solid Snake. He's like this.
Is he a super soldier?
Pretty much. He's like the man you sent in to like take out everyone else. Like he always all his missions are always solo. He's never with a team or nothing like that. 'Cause he's all stealth. And they usually send him in with no weapons. And he goes in there and like they say like, hey, in order for you to survive, you need to scavenge weapons because we can't give you too much equipment going in because you'd be too bulky. So go in there, scavenge weapons along the way, take out bosses, whatever. And so throughout his mission, he fights motherfuckers like Psycho Mantis, who another thing we talk about too with like, probably like, MK Ultra type shit. He was a psychic and he was used by the Russian government for like remote viewing back in the day.
Whoa.
So he was like fucking astral projection, spying on people.
This is in Metal Gear Solid 1.
This is on PlayStation 1, yeah.
Holy shit.
So this is MK Ultra shit right there off the top. You got somebody like that. Later on in the series, you want to find out there's a guy who, back in the 60s, his name's Sorrow. His powers are kind of similar to what Psycho Mantis is. This was just a psychic guy. But his is like he's able to communicate with the dead. So if in a war environment, you see dead bodies, he'll bring back the dead. He'll be like, hey, like what happened here? Da-da-da. Well, we got ambushed, da-da-da. Or he's able to pull information of the dead to like absorb it.
Holy
combat skills.
Shit.
So like it does like a lot of supernatural shit. Not a lot of like where the government starts like, hey, let's kind of like manipulate people with like supernatural abilities to, fight for us or whatever like that. So Psycho Mantis is in the game. This shit is like
They can do everything now.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Damn. Like real life could be like more sci-fi than we even imagine.
Yeah, if this shit's really been true, because some of the stuff they talk about within Metal Gear Solid, I'm kind of like, okay, this ties into like real world stuff, right?
Yeah, because MK Ultra is actually a real thing.
It's real shit, yeah.
The CIA, they all talk about it, have documents on it. It's not a made up thing. They actually did
This
do
is real
mind
shit.
control.
It's real shit. They haven't denied it now. It's kind of like
Yeah.
it's out there in the ether. So
They admitted to doing all these type of like experiments on people using like LSD, mind control, getting them to do remote viewing, looking at Costa Rica when this dude's in Florida, whatever.
yeah,
They did shit like that.
yeah. So so that's how what Psycho Mantis was, and he was one of the boss fights in the game which was awesome because back then when you played the game, Psycho Mantis, he would be like, hey, put your controller on the ground. This is back when DualShock controllers first came out. he will tell the player like, put your controller on the ground and leave it there. I'm gonna make it move from left to right.
Whoa!
And the controller would
real?
you should have done this. This was like revolutionary. Everybody who played Metal Gear Solid knows this like epic moment. Your controller would shake and it would move left and it would move right.
Damn.
And he would tell you like, hey, I just went through like I basically says like, I see that you like playing Ape Escape or you like playing Banjo-Kazooie. He's going through your memory card and he's saying like, these are all the games you like to play.
He infiltrated your fucking PlayStation.
And then he winds up telling you like, also I noticed that you don't save often in this game, which makes you really reckless. So you might want to start doing that more. Like it was such a, as a kid at the time playing this game, I almost lost my fucking mind. I was like, how does he know?
How did I not know that?
It's one of the best moments of the game.
That's crazy. Now imagine, like, if a game can like look through your save files and shit. Imagine what the fuck they know from us using our smartphones and our laptops.
Mind you, this is back in '98, so this is like
imagine, dude.
It's insane.
It's like, when you went on incognito, I was there too.
And it's awesome. So like, the way and the reason why this game was breaking so many walls back then is because during the boss fight, every time you would shoot at Psycho Mantis, he would move out the way. You throw shit at him, grenades, he dodges everything. He throws objects at you. There's no way you can beat him unless you take your controller out the first port and you put in the second port.
What the fuck?
And Psycho Mantis can't read your mind after that. So then you become unpredictable.
How did you figure that out?
I think I did like a Kodak call. It was like, hey, Snake.
Oh,
because you can talk to your teammates through like, you're like.
This was part 1.
This game is wild.
That's mind blowing.
This is like the first one of like the first 3D console generation. So there was like 3 other games prior, but this is like the main one of like
what
people make a reference to as like being the first one.
I can't believe like they didn't make other games like similar like that where they made you really have to think like physically.
Nah, they tried to do some shit like that, like maybe like Siphon Filter, but that was more like they trying to stick more to like a stealth element and not so strong story moments. So it's kind of like a blatant ripoff of Metal Gear, but Metal Gear was like, once you take the controller out from port 1 and put it in port 2, you like, holy shit, can't read my mind, and you just light his ass up. Like
98.
Yes, 98.
Wow.
Like I played the game so much that before I got to the fight, I would take my controller out and put it in the port 2, and he couldn't read my shit at all. And I would just beat him off the bat. But when you play it the first time, you don't know you can do that.
That's such a good idea.
It's genius. Hideo Kojima, you a fucking genius.
That's when the developers were like in the golden age.
Yeah, man.
When they made games fun instead of just doing like microtransactions, just trying to make that little money.
Pushing out content every year. But yeah, so
like not even every year, just DLCs. Like
it's DLCs, yeah.
They don't even have to release a new game.
Like you just get like full games at a time, like a beginning, middle, and end story.
Now you get bits and pieces.
Pretty much.
But the thing I like about now, like with games, like the reason why a good game can never end, they can just keep releasing new shit, which is cool. Like if you already enjoy a game, you don't want it to end, and you still want some new content.
Keep it going forever. It's like Fortnite. It's like there's never been a Fortnite 2, but you would think there was a Fortnite 2 as long as that shit's been around, but
yeah.
So anyway, so Snake winds up coming across all these interesting characters throughout his mission because Snake's whole mission in Metal Gear Solid, he's basically trying to stop a terrorist group called Foxhound. They took over the facility, But then you want finding out towards the end of the game, the leader of this group is his twin brother. His name is Liquid Snake. So Solid, Liquid, type of twist to that.
Okay, like Snake, right? The main character. Is he like a product of a government project?
Yes, and that's where in the game you find out towards the end of the game that you hear like people that talk like throughout the game. You hear people say some shit like, "Hey, like this guy's just sneaking around. He kind of looks like the leader of this terrorist group." Like And the whole time you play the game, you don't really put 2 and 2 together, and that's when you find out like towards the end of the game, Liquid Snake explains to Snake like, "Hey, you and me, we're brothers, and we were a part of this project called Les Infantes Terribles," which in French is like the terrible children. Like it's basically like a project started by the U.S. government. So, long story short, with this is like they both have a father, right? His real name is John, but his code name back then was Naked Snake, and he went on these like missions for like the 50s and 60s, all types of shit, and he wound up being declared as like the greatest soldier of the 20th century. Like as far as like not even so much as fighting in combat, and he was almost unstoppable because they would say like as far as when it comes to Naked Snake, he made the impossible possible. So situations where he shouldn't have survived, he survived that shit came out whatever a better man or whatever. Just he would obliterate his enemies. And
Like Tom Cruise, right?
yeah, some Tom Cruise type shit, you know.
He always makes it out.
And yeah, and so with their father John, it gets to a point within the story, he winds up forming this group with some friends of his that was always with him on missions. I think they want to call each other like the Patriots or whatever. But in that time frame, he starts disagreeing with the ideologies of the people within this group, and he gets out and he leaves. But
Is the Patriots, would that be like
the Illuminati type
like the
group.
Illuminati?
Yeah, a lot of it comprises of like people who used to be good people. Like they used to be solid people at one point, and then after a while they started amassing power. They started like manipulating America from the shadows and all that, and trying to control wars and whatnot. And when you saw like when their father John started seeing this, he doesn't like it, and so he ducks up. He gets the hell on and leaves. But they wind up taking samples of his DNA after he leaves. And almost it's kind of like and I don't know if it's ever really described about with John and whatnot. With him getting his DNA taken or why it was really taken. But the guy who took it, his name was Major Zero. That was his code name. He takes their DNA, but I always thought he took John's DNA is because since John is Naked Snake, what is his code name, Naked Snake, he's the greatest soldier of the 20th century. If I'm not mistaken, they kind of felt like they needed like an insurance policy. Like, hey, like we might have to kill this motherfucker one day, so we need to have the only people that could probably really beat him are genetic clones of him when they grow older. And so they wound up starting this project called the Terrible Children Project or whatever, and they wound up conditioning basically Snake and Solid and Liquid Snake wound up like becoming clones of Big Boss. Like how they did the experiment was they took the embryo of like one of their assistants, a Japanese woman.
So Big Boss is like the main guy that's...
Yeah. Okay, so like with Big Boss, right? He was let me try to find it right quick. So with the whole Big Boss situation, his situation was that he couldn't have kids at all. He was I can't think of the word for it, but yeah.
He's sterile.
Yeah, there you go. Because back in I think it's maybe in the 50s, he was on this island called this area and somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. It's called like this incident called Bikini Atoll, but they used to test like hundreds and hundreds of nukes there back then. And he,
like in real life?
This is real world shit right here too. Like they nuked the fuck out of this island, and soldiers from back then who was there for the testing, almost every single one of them died from cancerous effects from being there and watching nukes going off.
So were their DNA like modified before they put them on the island to see if they can survive a nuclear explosion?
Nah, they were just regular people. And John,
so they were just testing the bombs. They weren't testing like how the bombs affect human bodies.
Yeah, I guess like maybe with the effects of say nuclear fallout and shit like that. So it's just regular human beings. It's like
that's a waste of humans. I would think they would modify their DNA. Say, hey, let's try to make this guy immune to like radioactive.
But
and shit.
It kind of you'll see like later on down the line. That's when the gene therapy shit comes into play a little bit. But so because of all this stuff of him being at Bikini Atoll, he winds up getting washed over with radiation. And he winds up getting some effects of the radiation. He becomes sterile. He can't have any kids anymore. So before he left, they took his genetic code, which was unknowing to him at first. He didn't know they was taking his genetic information from him. And they put it inside this female Japanese woman who was assistant who also worked with the philosophers.
So Snake is half white, half Japanese?
No, so Snake, where is he from? I think he might be from the U.S. if I'm not mistaken. But their sons, Solid and Liquid, they're going to be part Japanese and part white because even though they look kind of like him on a genetic level, they have Japanese Asian Asian descent and within it because they used the egg of a Japanese assistant who worked with them. They used her egg and they implanted it into this spy chick named Eva. And she wants to become a surrogate to carry the baby.
Adam and Eve.
Yeah, Adam and Eve.
Pun intended.
And she winds up giving birth to Solid and Liquid Snake. And that's how
twins.
Yes, twin boys. Now, later on down the line, so the thing is though, is like the twins, Solid and Liquid Snake, they had recessive, one had recessive and one had dominant genes.
What's recessive?
Recessive is say like it is weird shit too. It's kind of like weird traits that a body has. Say for example, like your earlobes on your ear, they don't exactly like your earlobes on your ear connect to your actual face.
Oh, I see some people like that.
Yeah, that's like a recessive gene right there. That would be an example of it.
So would that be a bad thing or a good thing?
It's kind of like I always thought like recessive genes was kind of like genetic defects, but not like super severe. Like for example, like having blue eyes is a recessive gene.
Because that's not normal.
Because brown eyes is the most dominant. So what it was is kind of like, okay, you have Solid Snake, who is like, supposedly how it was like, Solid Snake was supposed to be the dominant gene, and then Liquid Snake was supposed to be have the recessive genes. But then you might find out later on down in the franchise, it was actually flipped. That's not some
Snake was actually retarded.
Yeah, Snake
I'm
was.
just playing.
Snake had. He really trying to get us canceled today. Snake has the
You can say that word now.
Oh, yes.
Right, guys? Right?
So Snake has the one. You might find like later on, Snake has the recessive genes and all this other shit. That's whatever.
What gave it away though?
I don't even know if it was even fully explained because Liquid tells him that he's the most dominant like one, and that's why he's jealous of him because you're more like our father than I am. Like they created me, and I'm a waste because when they were being created, right?
Are they aware that they were created in the lab?
Yes, Liquid Snake is the first one to find out about it.
And who told them that?
Fuck, I don't know. He's got like a lot of spies, so it's like
It's
so
so on
much
the
shit.
street is they made you.
Hey, yo, your test tube baby, something.
You're not natural. They made your ass.
So, I can't remember. It's so much shit behind it. There probably is a story on how he found out, but so anyways, he winds up telling his brother Liquid Snake that we're clones, and that when they were being created in the lab, there was actually 6 of, I think it was it
6 versions of them?
there was like 8 of them or 6 of them, something like that.
Oh, that's gonna tie into my story so good.
It's all of them, right? But as the time went on, they started seeing how like some of the embryos were growing, and they started aborting them because it's like, okay, this person has this type of genes. He's not the big boss that we want.
Like they'll see defects in the clones, and then they'll
like,
just abort them.
Yeah, and it's like abort, and supposedly that the last 2 that was left was Solid and Liquid, and they become the sons of the big boss, right? So one represents the dominant side of the genes, one represents the recessive side. But what I realized over time too is that when it comes to genetics, there's also green eyes, which green eyes is in the middle of like brown being dominant and blue being recessive. Green eyes is in the middle. It's like the best of like both. It's got both characteristics of the genetic code. It doesn't lean to the left or right or either way. It's just so in the middle.
That's rare, right?
I'm assuming it's rare because it seems like it's just kind of like.
I've seen somebody with like blue and green eyes, like all in one eye.
Yeah, I've seen something like that before. As soon as I'm like, so you just a freak all around then, huh?
Like you're super recessive.
Full blown.
Is that how you say it? Like, would you say, "Oh, you're recessive"? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what that word is.
I'd be like, yo, your eyes are hot. Like, you got beautiful
it looks
eyes.
Cool.
Yeah.
It looks fake actually.
Yeah, like take them contacts out.
Take the man, give me your eyeball.
That was like in the 2000s where females used to wear contacts.
They still do.
They do. I'm out the loop, I guess. And so, anyways,
I made that up. I don't know.
So, anyways, they wound up having like so by Metal Gear Solid 2, and I'll explain that a little right now real quick. They wound up finding out that they have a other brother.
Whoa, a triplet.
And his code name is Solidus. So he's like considered like the perfect clone of Big Boss.
Between Solid and Liquid.
Solid, Liquid, and Solidus is like
right in the middle.
It's not either a solid nor liquid. It's like Solidus, like a gas. I
both.
Guess. Yes.
He can go from both states.
So he represents like the green eyes of the brothers, but he's like the perfect one, like looks wise, everything. He's more connected to Big Boss as their father than both of them.
So Big Boss, was he a normal guy or was he genetically modified also?
He was just like a badass dude. As far as I don't think there was any kind of genetics done to him at all.
It's just a perfect specimen.
Just like the perfect like alpha male. Like
he was born like that.
It's like you have Arnold Schwarzenegger and then you try to clone him. Like that's the best way I can.
I mean, Arnold actually, he looks like a modified creature.
Yeah, he is. He might be some Nazi
like
experiment.
A little too much, you know? Like obviously something's wrong with him.
Something's out there.
Something's not natural, you know?
It's catching up to him now. He's getting
old. Big Boss, he came out like that.
Came out.
The 2 perfect human beings created one perfect animal.
Yeah, and one of the good things that was always praised about with somebody like Big Boss 2, he was able to rally a lot of people to join his side. Like he was like a born leader, which is probably, in my opinion, one of his greatest like abilities. Like he would talk and people would be like, yeah, let's go, let's fuck some shit up.
Like it sounds right.
Yes, he was collecting like a lot of soldiers who were being abused around the world, and it was like, okay, you're good enough to fight these wars for your countries, but then when you're done, what do? Like they didn't taught you how to kill, but you have no life after this, and they're not going to do anything to help you. So come to my area, and come stay with me, and then we'll build a world together. Like we'll be like a soldier without borders. Like, you know, because the rest of the world's not gonna take care of us, so we can take care of ourselves here. And it worked and shit. He wanted to become like a huge threat to the world. So Big Boss technically is not the main villain of the series.
Was he a character that you had to end up fighting?
Within the first couple, like for the sake of the story, I say the first very two original Metal Gear Solid games, you do fight Big Boss. For anybody who knows what I'm talking about, you know.
Is he like what they say he is, like super hard to fight?
I never played the original ones at all. I just know like I just played. Only time I ever played him is like doing prequel games. But as far as like him being a badass, unstoppable dude, like he was always one step ahead of everybody else. And like people like Solid Snake, he was basically created in a way to deal with Big Boss, even though he's been told his whole life, or like basically a lot of times he's fought Big Boss. It's almost like he's being told like, hey, he's the bad guy, and you gotta like believe what we say. Then over time, you start playing as Big Boss in other games. You're like, hey man, like it's kind of like you the whole time you're believing that Big Boss is like this ultimate villain, and now you find out like, holy shit, he's just trying to like take care of people just like him, but the rest of the world is scared of what he might do. So you're sending your sons after him to kill him, because who else is gonna kill him but his own genetic sons? So it's fucking crazy. Do you want to perform experiments too, like the Super Baby Project, I think it's called. But basically, like they start messing with like the genetic codes of babies and like in embryos, and just making them age faster. Like for example, when I was talking about Solidus, he looked a lot older than Solid and Liquid, his brothers. He looked much older than them. Like he looked like he was in his 50s, but in reality, I think he's like maybe in his 20s or something like that. But they just like mess with his genetic code. Like, okay, we're gonna make you look a little bit older because we really want you to look the part.
Damn, so they were talking about like designer
babies back, yes,
back then.
Yes. But that was more explained in Metal Gear Solid 2 with designer kids and all that, like how he was created.
It's crazy how like back then, if you were to play that game, you would never imagine like something like that being real. As far as you were able to make a baby, like, you know, have blue eyes or born with the Gucci logo on their back, or whatever, you know,
create whatever you want, man. It's like a build a baby, like basically what it is.
But now, like, I mean, today it's almost, I'm pretty sure it's possible where you can, like, let's say like you and your husband, right? Your husband's super ugly, but then the girl's like, oh, let's just get a baby. Like, we can make a baby like look like the perfect kid of what they would imagine what a perfect kid would look like to them and shit.
Would you ever be down for that?
Hell no, because I mean, you don't know, like your baby can come out crazy, like your baby can come out with the memory of like some old man that's gonna end up killing you when he gets older.
That is true.
Yeah, I thought far ahead of this, you know, thinking about like, if that technology is real, like who knows like what the fuck they can implant in their memory and shit.
Yes, I was gonna bring that up a little bit later too about how,
because you know how like when some kids are born, right, they carry on like trauma from like their ancestors' past life. Like let's say for example you're afraid of like elevators or something, and you don't know in this life, you're like, why the hell am I afraid of elevators? Like you don't know it, but in your past life maybe you got crushed by an elevator.
Yeah.
And that carries on, like the memory carries on and passes down through a genetic code. Since we're all like pretty much computers. Yeah,
it just carries over. I mean, your save file carries over to the next game.
Like, ask any scientist. They all talk like that now. It's almost like
it's a good way to break it down.
It's like a free for all right now in the science community. They're like, dude, like shit is off the wall right now. Somebody just like left the door open.
Let's grab that craziest shit.
You know, all the UFO leaked footage, it's not leaked footage, but it's like all this declassified UFO videos all coming out and
spilling out, man.
Who knows, man? They might tell us what's really going on in the moon. But go ahead.
All right, so
I'd try to squeeze in something in there.
Okay, so all right, so back with Metal Gear Solid. Okay, so another thing so now this is gonna tie to the real world, right? Back in 1991,
real life.
This is a real true story.
Real life, guys.
1991, fucking Gulf War kicks off. It winds up happening because you have Iraq that just comes walking into the country of Kuwait, and they take that shit over easily. The only reason why I know this for a fact is because when I went to Kuwait and I got real cool with some Kuwaiti soldiers out there. They were there back in 91, still in the military, and they remember how it went down when Iraq just crossed into our Kuwaiti border and took over. And it was like Iraqi soldiers just showed up, right?
Yeah.
Told Kuwaiti soldiers like, hey, if you're enlisted personnel, which means you're just regular, soldiers, whatever, for the most part. You're not an officer or anything like that. It's like, hey, go home, be with your families. Boom. So they said, and this is like people like I met that was there. This is like, hey, they told us to go home. We left, and they told us to keep all our officers behind so they could kill them. And we was like, okay, cool. And then we all went home to go be with our families. But Iraq just rolled up in that bitch, like, and just took over easily. Like, there was no fight. So after the Gulf War kicks off, that's when the United States and like 30 other fucking countries get involved in it, and they go to war to push Iraq out of Kuwait, right? So there was all these issues that came out at after the Gulf War ended. A lot of soldiers was coming back with like with things called like Gulf War syndrome, basically coming back with like what's the thing I'm looking for? They was coming back with like some kind of like diseases or whatnot, or maybe like certain rashes they would get, or not be able to sleep. They was coming back with a lot of fucking problems, right?
Sounds like problems I have too.
Oh, that shit. So
Am I a Gulf War baby or something?
Yeah, maybe. I was about to go to Gulf War babies next.
I get flashbacks right now, start freaking out.
I'm a Gulf War baby. Oh my God.
End the podcast.
So that's basically what happens. And then also too, like a lot of soldiers were supposedly exposed to like uranium tank shells out there and all this other shit, right? And they wound up trying to, give birth to kids, and they started having like babies with birth defects, which were referred to as Gulf War babies. The U.S. government and the VA to this day still deny that ever happened. It was like, it's basically saying like that never happened is not true, and they've never confirmed that people coming back with Gulf War syndromes or having defective babies. So the U.S. government like says that shit never existed, right? It's not true. But in Metal Gear Solid universe, Hideo Kojima with Liquid Snake in the game, he wants to explain to Snake, like, look, like since we were born, they started doing gene therapy on all soldiers in the US, injecting them with stuff, messing around with their DNA. So, hey, like we want to create a soldier who may be immune to like certain like sarin gases or whatever and shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll mess around with them genetically. So
I think that will be like the big goal for like genetic modification in the first place, is to create like super soldiers that are immune to like certain type of diseases.
Yeah.
Where they can send them like to a location where like they're used to throwing like whatever pepper spray gas, and they just walk right through it.
Like that doesn't burn my eyes. And so that's what it's trying to do, is like create like these soldiers that just basically create like these perfect killing machines, I guess, or just whatever. Like just I think it's like this might be the early stages when they started testing it out on soldiers within the series. The thing is though, in the video game, Liquid Snake winds up talking about how like it was called the Genome Project, where they was injecting soldiers with this shit, but to the regular public and to most people, it was called Gulf War syndrome. So the side effects of being injected or being messed around with on a genetic level, it was to have just side effects, like with rashes and all this other stuff going on. It's just the side effects of them being messed around with genetically to be modified for the Gulf War. And that's why babies started coming out having defects, because they was basically trying to play God with a bunch of soldiers, trying to create something, and then Ukraine, you're messing them up and turn like, on a genetic level, and they're giving like, giving birth to defective kids and all that. But Liquid Snake says in the game, like, hey, it was all a cover up. That Gulf War syndrome shit, it was actually messing around with soldiers. That's why.
You think like in real life, like they actually did that, where they actually played with soldiers' DNA?
Yes.
Like especially the soldiers that, they overachieved, like whatever camp they were in, the sergeants were like, damn man, this guy's like an overachiever. We're gonna use him for the special project because he's doing so well. Like we want him in the special project.
Let's take note of him.
Yeah. So they pick like whatever, like maybe 3 people out of the bunch, and they're like, hey, we're gonna send this guy to like special forces, and we're gonna train them like there. And then that's when they do like the testing on their DNA and shit.
Chucking their blood.
So if you guys ever go to like to the military or whatever, like just do bare minimum. Don't show out, because they will lay you out with some special vaccines that
Well, I already got injected with a bunch of shit, and I wasn't even like no super soldier. I was just a dude.
Yeah, you got the normal stuff.
I don't know, man.
Just enough to keep you in line and shit,
I think it was too, like, at least when I was running the military, you had like a lot of people who was either trying to like, there's people who were like fuck offs and he just couldn't get their shit together. You have people who trying to overachieve and trying to be like, I'm the best of the best. And then you have people like me,
right in the middle, right?
I'm just kind of like, I'm not trying to be the best or the worst, but not to the point, because if you're the best and you fuck up, they're gonna get in your ass about it. If you fuck off, then of course you're getting your ass about it. So I'm like, I'm in the middle somewhere. I'm just trying to
barely on radar.
I'm barely on radar. Like, you notice me, but not to a point where
it's like, oh shit,
this
you're done?
person,
You graduated?
This person next to me, he fucks up way more. So focus on him.
Shell Shock says, no, they go rough. They go rough. Is that what you're trying to say? Shell Shock says, yeah, they did, and a bunch of experimental vaccines and shit.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Because I remember you telling me a story like they made you watch a video where it's almost like breaking down your character or something like that. They showed you like a lot of bad like visuals. Like, well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I heard something wrong.
No, it was just one of the things that we started learning. Like, okay, how it's structured is like, okay, who you were before you joined the military no longer exists. So the part of basic training or boot camp is we strip away all the layers of who you are as an individual, right? Whoever the fuck you were back then, as they told me when I first joined the military, you're not in the hood anymore, Jones. I was like, I grew up in...
Wait, they said that?
I was like, I grew up in middle class, like, fucking Ellenwood, Georgia,
I'm in the
man.
suburbs and shit, you know?
I haven't lived in the hood in about a decade at that point, but whatever.
You're not in the hood. You mean projects?
Why don't you just call me a crack baby, man? Shit, you going all in.
Get out that project. We're somewhere else.
So the whole point of it is like they tear you down as a character, and then once you're there, your drill instructor, or your TI, whatever you want to call him, who's like over all you guys, in charge of you guys, your objective is basically like you have to hate that person. And so in order for you guys to beat him at his game, you have to learn to work together. So learn to follow his orders, learn to do that. It's like a twisted thing. It's like you're not really beating him at his game. It's like, hey,
just learn to work together.
The punishment gets less if we learn to work together and still do what he says. So you're not really beating him. You're just conforming to what they're setting for standards.
Fuck.
And so your old self is gone. You get created into this whole new, hey, it's not me anymore. It's we. You have to learn how to work as a team. And I remember when I first got out of basic training.
We're not five. We're one.
we are Venom. We are one symbiote. We are whatever, fuck ever.
I mean, if you really think about it, like, worldwide, we are actually one, if you believe that.
I mean,
we all share the same mind, same conscience, same everything.
And that's one thing I will give credit to is like, you know, like in this world, sometimes people, like a lot of people make shit about themselves and don't think about the grand scheme as a whole. If people would like let down their barriers and learn to at least work with each other, like how I always say with that with the military, at least going through basic training, you know, in order for you guys to, you got all you guys have the same common goal, and that's to graduate. But if you want to have a hard time, it's going to be hell. If you want to be easier, then work together as a team. Like somebody who's good at making beds, they need to make beds. Somebody's good at polishing boots, they polish boots. But that's like designating people create a system to where basically like you have created a structural society in order for you to all work together cohesively. And I think that
that's cool.
And then for a main thing for real world aspect, I wish that would matter more in the world. Like everybody's working together, but that shit's tough though to get everybody to shed their individuality and work together as a whole. So. But as far as with the military, yeah, we got injected with a lot of shit too. Had to walk down the hallway
and get injected with random needles.
Random ass needles, like it's people on each side of you. It's like a needle gauntlet, and you're walking down the hallway, and it's just like sticking you and sticking you. You get stuck in your arm, walk up next, stuck in the arm, walk up next, stuck in the arm, stuck in the arm, and then they give you like a 6-inch needle of like fuck, I can't think of it. Somebody tell me in chat. I know I can't think of it, but. Basically, they stick this 6-inch needle like in the cheek of your ass, and they inject. It starts with a P. I can't think of it.
Psilocybin.
Yeah, there we go. I wish, but basically, that's like the worst shot that you get, and you'll feel it like whatever they're putting in you. You can feel the syringe like pushing it into your butt. You're like, oh my god, like they're pushing a baby in my butt, and like it's.
They might be pushing a computer in your ass.
A chip.
You got a little computer in your ass, dude.
Penicillin. There you go. Thank you, Shell Shock. Penicillin.
I was close. I said penicillin.
The peanut butter shot, like the peanut butter shot, because you like when they inject you with the needle and they push down the syringe, you feel like what the fuck are they putting in me? Because you can feel the pressure.
Like it's peanut butter squaring out.
It's like it feels like they're pushing peanut butter in your butt cheek, and
or the
like,
peanut butter is like you shitting.
It could have been that too, because that shit was painful.
It went from peanut butter to like Rocky Road.
And cookies and cream, maybe.
Cookies and cream.
It got messy real quick.
Mine would be like fucking vanilla caramel, chocolate sludge.
Jesus, what'd you eat?
I'm just playing. I hope nobody listens to this. Shell Shock says Chris was the type of guy that stepped on the chrome strip. What does that mean?
Hell no.
Is this army talk?
It's military talk.
Military talk?
Yeah, chrome strip is like at the door. People shine it. You can't step on it. You get fucked up. No, I never did that. Actually,
I don't know what you just said.
I can't really explain
You
it.
lost me at chrome.
But I was one of the dudes in the military where, I don't know. I only got yelled at one time, and that was because
You were bad.
you
were not
they,
good.
They tried to put me on an eating waiver back then. I was 116 when I went into the military, and in order to graduate, I needed to be 119.
What?
But after like 6 weeks of being there, I went up to like 117, and my TI was like, "What the fuck, Jones? Like, told you to get a fucking eating waiver, damn!" And that's the first time he ever yelled
What the
at
hell
me.
is an eating waiver?
Eating waiver is like, okay, if you're underweight, it's like, for example, like I was 116, I needed to be 119 to graduate.
So you're allowed more food.
You're allowed more food and more time to eat. But my metabolism was like insanely high back then. So it was like, don't matter how much I eat or whatever, I'm burning
my
it.
shit was like that back then too.
Like I'm burning my shit off whether I'm running or not. And so I went up to like 117, and my TI was like, "What the fuck, Jones?" Like, House Mouse, who's basically like the assistant. That's what House Mouse is, like the bitch assistant to the TI. He's like, "House Mouse, put down 119 for Jones." And that's the only time I got yelled at. Because he was like, "Damn it, Jones, I told you to fucking eat. You've been doing this whole time. Why don't you listen to me?"
It's like, I know my body. Get off me. That's crazy, man.
But that's it. I never got yelled at in basically like that.
It's like you're about to fight or something. You got to cut weight or you got to gain weight for a fight.
Yeah. It's like, yo, you got 6 weeks to get ready for the fight.
I was like, who am I fighting? I have to get 119. Who I got to fight?
What's my diet, man?
God damn. That would give me anxiety, man, having to.
It fucked with a lot
It's
of
like,
people.
fuck, I can't even put on this extra 12 pounds or whatever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I weigh less than everybody. And that's because I was the only one getting told to get put on the eating waiver.
That's why you're like right in the middle. Like you didn't hit anybody's like a radar.
No, I was just kind of like, the only thing that was impressed with me is that like I took a lot of notes, kind of like history. And so you have to like sit through like Air Force history class, and like I always took a lot of notes. And they was always impressed with me, like, "Damn, you really like this Air Force shit." I was like, "Nah, I just like history. Like, it's pretty cool." Like,
Pretty cool. You know the MK Ultra stuff. Like, wait, what?
Whoa, who told you?
Hold on. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes, Jones. We need you on Sector 5, a Quadrant 12.
What's up with you in quad?
Apex, man. Shell Shock says, I was element leader. I was always getting yelled at. What is an element leader?
All right, so you got like
We
four.
get to learn about the military today. A little bit, guys.
A little bit. We're gonna stick too long to this. All right, so element leader is like, okay, you have your whole squad, and then you have like 4 rows, right? I think it's like 4 or 5, whatever it is. There's like 4, like say if you're like all in formation, there's like 4 rows of formation. The person in the front is the element leader. So it's like 4 element leaders. So there's like a rows of 4.
Why did they call them element, though?
I don't know, like
It was like a
earth, wind, water, fire. I don't know. Maybe maybe it's got something to do with
Captain
it.
Planet?
I really don't know. Actually, I never thought about that.
water,
So you be asking the real questions. I never thought about that.
earth.
I was offered the position of element leader because like I had an all black element leader group, and we had like one white dorm chief who's like in charge of like the whole crew, and the 4 black element leaders didn't like him, so there's like, hey,
Wait, full black?
there's 4 black element leaders, black dudes,
Oh.
and they were like, hey, we don't like this white dude because he's a dickhead, so we're gonna get so and so to step up, take his spot, and since you real cool dude, and you one of the brothers, we want you to take up the next spot.
Holy shit.
And I was like, no, because I seen you guys get fucking shredded out there and get yelled at for the littlest thing. I'm cool. I'm no leader. I'm not even a follower. I just kind of just survive. Like I'm just trying to make it through this
Like
shit.
Chris Jones, you want to become a Panther?
Get this branding on your fucking chest.
When I
Yes,
think
so-
element, I think like the logo is like a little green leaf.
Why? This is like
You
nature.
remember element skateboards? They had the
Oh my
little-
god.
The little leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I forgot all about that.
Shell Shock said squadron, flight, element. That's how it broke down. Each row is an element of the flight.
yes.
Oh.
Yeah. It was,
I comprende. Comprendo.
yes.
Comprende.
It was crazy times back then.
We're going to take a quick bathroom break. We'll be right back. And do you have any more information on Metal Gear that you want to cover?
That's kind of like about it. We can go full on ape shit with the crypto shit next.
All right. So we're going to, when we get back, we're going to do cloning when we get back.
Hell yeah.
Says that's why I wasn't on a grad and Chris wasn't.
Pretty much.
Is that true?
I didn't know you was on a grad. You trying to flex right now. I had no idea. I wasn't trying to be on a grad. I was just trying to get the hell up out of there. Get up out of there and get me to the closest beer they had out there because I didn't drink for like 6 weeks at the time, so it was driving me nuts.
Hell yeah. I wouldn't want honors grad. I would want to be like Pebble grad.
What's that?
Like the bottom.
But you don't want to be worse.
Of course not. Pebble.
Pebble.
Below that is dirt.
Okay. I'm thinking Pebble was like the lowest on the bar. So
Pebble is barely there, but you're still special.
but still, you still up the dirt.
You're still foundation.
You're not dirt though.
You're still holding up something. You know. All right, let's get to cloning. I'm gonna start from the beginning. Excuse me.
Nice.
Cut that out, guys. All right, so you guys ever heard the guy named Donald Marshall?
More or less.
This guy, he supposedly is a whistleblower. He was an insider of the Illuminati. So late 2011, like he published like information about him being inside the Illuminati and him witnessing a whole bunch of crimes that they committed, from like murder to them torturing people and stuff. He was like on the inside, like as a child. Like he can remember him being on the inside since like 5 years old and shit.
Okay.
Being in the Illuminati, or that's what he called it. He said that the shadow government, like what you were talking about, Metal Gear Solid, shadow government was being created and shit.
Yeah.
But they've been around for forever, since like the beginning. So the shadow government, they've been orchestrating like world events for forever now, like promoting like hidden agendas and ultimate control of all areas of society, from banking, business, politics, military, education, religion, medicine, and even like entertainment. So they're trying to control pretty much the whole world.
Yeah.
Everything.
Every
Banking.
aspect.
Excuse me. Yeah, they're trying to control everything, which we all know Illuminati, supposedly, these guys control everything.
Yeah, run the world.
I mean, but like, if you look at it like from a normal point of view, do you think that's something that is possible now? How one organization can have power over the whole world?
I used to really believe in that, like it was one organization. And then as I got older and I started seeing how the way the world worked, I would believe that there's probably multiple organizations. Like, okay, there's like, say, there's like an American branch of like the Illuminati, but then say like, you know, China has their own branch of it. Because I don't see China and America working hand in hand on any type of world domination, because somebody's always going to want more than the other. So I was thinking, so over time, I was like, you know what if there are like Illuminati type groups, but they exist in like their own, like, say like England has their own shit for their government. America has their own. South America's got their own shadow government. China has their own, but it's all like their own. Like they exist, but they're just in different regions of the world. They don't really work together all the time. Maybe they do sometimes. Maybe get some wars started. You know, get some money. Because war's a business. But as far as them like working together, like as a cohesive unit, I can't even. Regular people can't even work together, so I can't even expect like some upper echelon elites with like probably big ass egos.
But if you were to think like, if any country did like took over the world, what country would you think?
America.
It would be? America,
Yeah,
right?
straight up. Sorry, I didn't let you finish, but yeah. So
Yeah, I mean,
America.
because I mean, if you look at it, America, they're the only country that has like bases all around the world and shit.
Yeah, ain't no bases in America. Ain't no Canadian base. Ain't no
Russian bases out here.
No China bases. No Japan bases. No.
Nope. We got Skid Row though, but we don't have no Russian bases out here.
Skid Row.
All right, so Donald Marshall, the guy that's inside the Illuminati's, he said that there's a vast members of people in there that includes royal bloodlines, prominent wealthy families, influential members in finance, banking, entertaining, like religious leaders, politicians. These are big people in the world, like big name people. Like, for example, Queen Elizabeth. She's known to be one of the members of Illuminati. Who else? Vladimir Putin. He's known to be another member. A lot of like the big people that has a lot of power, they're all members, according to this guy.
Okay.
They're all members of this big underground society that's been around since fucking almost like maybe
Since Rome, some shit.
yeah, for a long time.
I mean, as far as I can think back, as a government existing, like Rome. If there's ever been a government, I always think there's always been a shadow government, in my opinion.
Yeah. So he explains that while like members within the elite club, they enjoy access of like unlimited opportunities. Like, you know, like for example, you hear shit like, oh, like this guy sold his soul, now he's like a celebrity, his fame is got rich money or whatever. But then the dude, like he has really no talent, but they just made him into like a star. For example, Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Okay.
If you look at him, he like as far as skills and music and whatever, he's not like lyrically like inclined to even be like a person in the music industry.
Yeah.
But somehow they made him into like a big star, and he was able to become famous or whatever.
So you think he's a part of it, or some kind of?
He's a part of it because he did speak a little bit on it, like in one of his videos that I saw where he was saying, he was like, you guys, like, everything you guys see here, like, this is not all me. Like, I don't control none of this stuff. He say like all the stuff he's getting, like they gave him that because he's like a puppet to them and shit.
I can kind of
Like
see that.
he's saying like, he's like, but the bad part of this deal, he said like, anything that they say, even if he don't want to do it, he gotta like stop whatever he's doing, and he gotta go and do that shit for whatever they said. Hey, come here, we want you to do this. You gotta do whatever.
Like, you owe us.
Yeah. So that's like them just saying like it's almost like a joke. Like, hey, we can make anybody famous. You don't even have to have no like skill or anything.
At first, I thought you was going to say J-Lo, not Tekashi 69.
J-Lo?
Yeah, recently I've been hearing about like a lot of shit, like just stuff popping up about her. Maybe not so much because Alex, fuck, what's his name? The A-Rod shit, Alex Rodriguez shit, because they broke up. But like some news was coming out recently where like, hey, like those big ass hits that she was having in the like late 90s, early 2000s, what she was singing in those music videos, she was actually sampling somebody else's voice. So that's not even her singing, but she won't give credit to anybody who's doing the vocals, like the vocals on any of her songs. She claims that it's true, that was her singing. Other people saying like, no, I was there in the studio who sung this song. She's taking credit for it. I'm like, so she really isn't talented, like, and from a musical aspect, but
Maybe.
they forced her down our throat back in the early.
A lot of them could be like that,
2000s.
Like they can give up their soul for that fame. They just gotta have like a little bit of talent or whatever, and then they just blow you up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get into some of the cloning. So Martian states that the practice of human cloning, like, is far from new, and experiments in genetic engineering have been conducted by scientists for many decades. He explains that in the beginning of 1940s, human cloning technology was used as a way for world leaders to meet in secret in order to plan and discuss future events. So from the 1940s, they were already messing around with human cloning.
Yeah.
And like we spoke in the last podcast, like 1940s was like the golden age of dumb fucking around with pretty much anything sci-fi, like time travel, MK Ultra, like LSD and remote viewing, fucking human cloning. It's all done in the 1940s. It's almost like the 1940s was when they I think they got a hold of like the mother lode of a whole bunch of information, like from, I don't know, aliens?
There's a guy. See, I think he's gonna say Hitler.
I'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
I'll get to that if you guys got any theories of what I'm about to say. But
All right.
but it all ties back to Hitler on why he is the most important man in the last 200 years. Very important. Very important.
Don't
person.
stop saying it.
Yeah.
Like, stop saying it.
What?
You're not making it sound better.
He needed to be alive at that time. He did bad things, but I don't know if it worked out or not. But we're here now, though.
As far as from a morale standpoint or
From an ethical point,
yeah, he's horrible. He's a piece of shit.
It's bad. He has a bad heart.
Now, as far as like what they was putting in like for like research and shit, because I remember reading before that back then, this is back when everybody and their mama was smoking cigarettes and shit because it was like the cool thing. Nazis were the first ones to discover that, hey, smoking cigarettes can lead to lung disease, and they started putting warnings on cigarette packs. It wasn't until after World War II, America started doing it because they started finding out the research from Nazis was like, holy shit, this does lead to like lung disease. And that's when America started putting warning labels on cigarettes. So Nazis, they was studying shit.
Shell Shock says, this is what I was telling Chris about that episode of American Dad with Kenny West and the hip hop Illuminati.
Kenny West was in American Dad too. I thought he was in the Cleveland show.
Who's Kenny West?
He was supposed to be Kanye West. Like did a voice like a guest, but
They call him Kenny.
Yeah, his name was Kenny West. He's on the Cleveland show, and there was like that's like one of the funniest episodes on there. He was in Cleveland show, but I thought that was in Cleveland show though, not American Dad. But I didn't know he was in American Dad either. Shit.
Kenny West,
and it's like Kanye West's voice, but he's like a teenage kid. Like
yeah. All right, so he said over time, like with the cloning, right? Like they got so bored that they started to clone like famous movie stars, artists, musicians, sports figures. They all clone them because they wanted to indulge in their fantasy. Like, let's say like you're a group in the Illuminati, right? You're already like a loyal member, and you said, "Hey, I want to have sex with that famous rapper Chris Jones."
What's up?
So Bill Gates would be like, "Hey, let me get a copy of Chris Jones." They would they would clone you, right? And then Bill Gates will fucking slap cheeks. Well, your cheek, not you though. You're a clone.
But my
And
clone,
he
not me.
Fuck the shit out of you, and then he'll probably slit your throat. Done. And they'll make multiple copies of you because Dwayne Johnson want to have sex with you too.
I'd be upset. I'm like, damn, that's kind of like, I would be kind of upset because I would be like, hey, like, you guys created these clones of me. Yeah, they're not me per se, but does that mean they don't have a soul, feelings, or anything like that? Y'all killing?
They got souls. They just
I feel some type of way about it. I'm like, I didn't want to have y'all fun, but
they got souls and they carry like fragments of like your memory in them because they are pretty much you.
yeah, imagine like you trying to do like a gun, like trying to dig through like government conspiracy, and then you want finding out there's like a fucking lab full of like fucking Billy Waters and tubes and shit, and then you come across a mass grave of like everybody that looks like you just laying in it.
Yeah.
That would be creepy as shit, man.
This is why, like, when that company came out, 23andMe or Ancestry.com or whatever, where they make people pretty much give up their DNA so they can build a DNA bank of fucking, I don't know, millions and millions of people.
I never trusted it.
Where people can pick and choose, like celebrities are looking at these people they see online, like, hey, did this person give up their DNA to 23andMe yet? It's like, oh yeah, they have. Clone them from me.
Because I have a theory about that, about 23andMe. All right.
It's a DNA collection for a clone bank.
Because hear me out, right?
That's my theory.
Hear me out. As far as space travel goes, I don't think in this lifetime or anytime as humans, as long as humans on this earth, I don't think we'll ever be able to figure out light speed travel. I don't think we'll ever. If we do, it'll be like with machines doing it
What
first.
if I told you it's already been done?
But I'm talking about like as far as humans as us traveling at light speed. Like say for us to going to Mars, since that would take fucking forever, it may seem like, or maybe to other planets. I think with 23andMe, instead of sending humans that you have to feed or put in cryo storage, fucking just have like embryos on the ship and then grow them as clones. So when they get there to the location, grow them as clones, boom, boom, boom. They start colonizing from there. That was always my theory. Because like, hey, we're trying to expand outward into space now.
See,
I think they're gonna use cloning as a way to implant our genetic code on another planet. Because I think it'd be a lot cheaper to have. It'd be a lot cheaper to send embryos that you can clone out there than sending like grown ass humans who be like, oh, I'm hungry, I gotta eat, I gotta have. It'd probably be fights on the ship.
How about sending grown ass humans there?
I would not do that.
How about they already did do that? Weren't you here for the last episode?
Yeah,
where
we were, but I'm like,
they're able to ship off people to Mars within a couple minutes.
I believe in all the possibilities of like, hey, that could happen and this could happen too.
I'll tell you this right now. Everything we speak about on this show, 105% real.
That's on some level.
Fight me, internet. I'm telling you. Huh?
Like,
oh, my bad.
I'm gonna fight everybody for this shit.
Bob say, take them kids too long to grow. Kids can carry rocks. Kids can't carry rocks.
Nah, man.
See, here's the thing. Let me get more into this cloning so you guys
Okay.
understand it more. Because Bob was talking about kids like growing like from a clone baby.
They go fast.
It takes long, but it actually grows fast.
They have a procedure for it. I just talked about before the super baby project.
They can make them full-size adults within a couple months.
Yes.
And to be like a full-size Chris Jones.
They'll be looking like fucking Goldberg lifting rocks instead of like
Yeah.
a child.
So Marshall, he claims to have witnessed like numerous crimes. Oh, I talked about this, right? Where they saw like these kids, they would fight in arenas, right? They would make clones. They would make clones of kids too. Like nobody's safe.
Yeah.
And the reason why they had clones of kids is because the people that wanted to be like a member of Illuminati, what they had to do was sacrifice one of their kids to be a loyal member. And the reason why like they had to sacrifice the kids, right? Because they were worshiping an alien god that's deep within the earth, super deep. And their name was like Vril, Vril. They go by Vril.
The god.
They're not a god. They're aliens that live on this earth, but they're inside of the earth.
Okay.
They describe them as like reptilian guys.
I don't know. Back to
This
the
is where
reptilians.
this is where the reptilian comes in. So they worship these like reptilians, because these reptilians, they happen to have like ancient technology from my people, the Atlanteans.
Okay.
Right.
I think
I try not to say that out loud because
I think you might say Cambodians. I'm like,
I don't know, man. They might. The minute I put my blood in the 23andMe, they're gonna be like, "Tee, Atlantean blood, go fucking scoop him up."
Send the hazmat team.
Yeah.
Scrub the house down. We gotta get everything.
Yeah, but humans now, like they bow down to this reptilian race. They're the one that fucking gave us all this technology, and I'll tell you how we got all that shit. All right, so back to secret human cloning. Okay, so back in 1997, this is like the big cloning shit where they cloned a sheep that they named Dolly, and it was a successful clone and shit. And they took the cell from a adult sheep, and they were able to clone a sheep in 1997.
I remember that too.
And that sheep right now is in like Scotland. I heard like from a friend.
It's still alive?
Yeah, no, it's dead, but it's in like a museum. And
it's Dolly.
I saw pictures like, oh shit, that's a big ass fucking sheep.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. Like that shit's been alive since 97.
Nah, it's dead. It's dead.
That's what I thought.
So like when that happened in 97, right? President Bill Clinton reacted immediately, stating that cloning of Dolly sheep raised serious ethical questions, particularly with respect to the possibility to use this technology for cloning human embryos. So they called for legislation to ban human cloning, and also the 13 European countries, including the UK House of Common Science and Technology, they all agreed to like, hey, we're never gonna do this, because they knew the possibility that, okay, what's next? You clone a human sheep, what's next? A fucking human. Oh, that's a human sheep.
Yeah, it did, but I was gonna let it go. I wasn't gonna say nothing.
You clone an animal sheep.
Yeah.
What's next? Human cloning.
I was gonna be next. It was like doing a space race. They were sending like dogs and shit to the moon, and fucking dogs would get killed left and right until the dog survived it. It was like one dog survived it. It was like, cool, let's send the man.
Yeah.
Let's send the person now. Dog made it back. So
and this was like in 97 when they cloned that sheep. But here's the crazy plot twist. They've been cloning humans since 1940s.
I ain't surprised.
So that sheep shit was just like a show like saying, hey, scientists, we made it this far. Trying to give like the public saying like, this is going on. And you guys should be smart enough to know that human cloning is going on right now. Before all this.
I always thought like with cloning or trying to do genetics and stuff, like on some scale, it existed way before the 40s, but it was like through like selective breeding and shit like that. Like for example, like doing slavery. Like somebody like me that was around doing slavery, they would probably dump my ass because I'm not strong and muscular and can't do all this shit.
I wouldn't do that.
But shit, they would do like selective breeding back then. Like, hey, have these strong, slaves made with these other strong female slaves and have a super strong baby, whatever. So I think like trying to control genetics has been around since like probably since humans been humans. But now that cloning's entered the picture, it's like, oh fuck, now it's kind of like stepping up the game now. Like, okay, now we got science to maybe create a super baby or whatever we want for whatever. So
you think like some of the like football players, like the really good ones, like they were fucking genetically modified from the beginning?
I noticed this thing, and maybe it's just me. I don't like maybe football players, maybe, but I've noticed this though. A lot of people I've met in my life who like to live in the gym and they work out a lot, they always seem to have like gaps in between their teeth, right? Like a little gap.
Why is that?
I don't know. But then when I thought about it one day, I was like, wait, Arnold Schwarzenegger used to have a gap in his teeth. And I was like, wait, are they all like clones from like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger? Because like, working out, living in the gym, I was like
their jaw expands?
Like they just have like the gap tooth and like just always just like rip living and just gym workout rats like all time. But they all have a gap in their teeth just like fucking like every single person I've met, especially when I was in the military, lived in the gym. And I was like, over time I was thinking about it, I was like, holy fuck, like they don't have like one defining feature. They have gaps in their teeth. And then I thought about it some more. I was like, wait, Arnold Schwarzenegger has a gap in his teeth. I'm like, oh, they created like super people from fucking.
They're creating like fucking gap teeth warriors.
Warriors, yeah. I can't think of it. There you go.
I don't know, man.
I've noticed it, man. If anybody else has noticed it, please tell me. I'm not going crazy. I promise. This is something I noticed a long time ago. This is the first time I'm coming out with it in public. I usually kept it to myself, but
that might be a thing though. That might be like something you can distinguish somebody that's been like modified.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got that gap. Oh, you've been modified. Are you aware? No.
So you're a Schwarzenegger clone. Because you can be a clone to like...
Then he's like, get off my balls, all right?
Get off my buzz. Yeah, I mean, because you can either have... Because creating a clone, it doesn't exactly have to be... Say like you... Like, for example, there could be a clone of you that's a female. You know what I'm saying? So it could be a clone as you have like kind of like darker skin, maybe black, but it still has your genetic
a
code.
doppelganger.
There you go. Yeah.
Speaking of doppelgangers, I was at work the other day, last week maybe, and I saw like somebody that looked just like my sister Bob. Like it looks just like her, dude. I should have took a picture, but I would look like a creep and shit. But I swear to you,
you should have done
I was
it,
like,
man.
what? I was like, what's Bob doing here? But the only reason why I know it's not Bob because she was a little bigger,
Like muscular?
almost like muscular, bigger, like taller too. But same person. It's so weird, dude. I was like, somebody made a clone of Bob.
Or Bob from an alternate universe.
That was crazy. Same stupid face. I was like, this is fucking Bob.
Why gotta be all that?
But yeah, I thought that was fucking funny. But I mean, Bob, she has like that face. Like, they might use like her same DNA for like a lot of other people. Because it seems like no offense, Bob, like a generic face for like a lot of Asian females. I'm not trying to say you're not special, but
No, you're cool, Bob. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him at all.
I'm just trying to get her back, man, because they always made fun of me. Like when I was younger, they said, "Oh man, look at your
You
twin."
adopted?
No, they said I was from the trash, but
Wow.
but yeah,
So this is it. Like,
I have the stage now.
you have the platform
This is
for
my
this.
stage. But yeah, I saw a couple Bob doppelgangers. I was like, yeah, she had that common DNA, like that common model 353 and shit.
The basic model.
The aliens use the same DNA to fucking make like 10,000 other Bobs.
Holy shit.
Bob says she don't look Asian. Yeah, you look Mexican Asian.
Mexican.
Bob is the Mexican Asian man with zero Atlantean blood.
That's all you?
Atlantean blood. I don't know. Bob never had a trip like that.
Oh, nah.
But I'm gonna take a leak real quick, and then we're gonna
Holy shit.
get our gears back together.
And we're back. See, I can say that, right?
Yeah, you want to say it again?
And we're back, folks.
All right, we're back, guys. Welcome back. All right, we're gonna get back into this human cloning. Robert says fast pee break.
Yeah, dude, he's the fastest I know.
I thought I took my time though.
I watch him. He's pretty fast.
Yeah, you watch me. All right, back to human cloning. All right, so Marshall, he claimed to have seen human cloning firsthand. As an unwilling participant in human cloning since early childhood, Marshall says that elite scientists in every country all over the world use top secret cloning technology to create identical human clones to be used in a variety of ways. So all over the world, they have scientists that they're aware of human cloning technology, and they're all using it to their benefit and gains or whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Which is like a form of power, right? Because for example, like let's say you can clone like political leaders. The leader doesn't really have to be there. Let's say that guy gets assassinated. That the real leader still exists. So like for example, North Korea, Kim Jong-un.
Yeah,
He might have like 100 clones, but his clones, no offense, they look bad. You can tell it's bad because he looks different.
They don't have the American tech. They don't have the good shit.
Yeah, like somebody get him an update of the human cloning technology.
His fucking face is melting.
That's why North Korea is so salty right now, because they got left out of the program. They didn't want to be a part of the group. They're like, man, we can make it ourselves, but they did it very sloppily.
Now they got the shitty tech.
Sloppily. That's a word, right?
Yeah, sure. Let's run with it.
But yeah, so Marshall, he saw all this thing firsthand since he was a kid. And he was actually one of the clones too.
Okay.
He saw multiple clones of himself like being used, and they had this thing out like where the rich people, they would go, well, not just rich people, but powerful people, they would gather in a location. Everything that happened that's fucked up, it all happened in an underground military base, deep within the earth, right? Let's just imagine if this was true. It's true though, but this all happened like in an underground base. So they would hold like fights for these kids to fight each other. And
Clone fight?
Yeah, clone fight. And they would kill each other in arena fights. And the rich people, they're all surrounded them, and they would bet money or whatever, just for fun. like a show. Like they would have people selling popcorn and shit,
The fuck?
and they would watch these kids like battle to the death. And he would watch like his clone. He would see his own self
Fighting in the ring.
having to fight in an arena for his life. And these kids don't know what the fuck is going on. They're just trying to survive. And he said he even had to fight himself. Like they fight like to the death, you know? And this kid, like after like a battle where his face was all beat up and blood everywhere, right? They took a picture of him, right? And guess where they used a picture of his face? They used a picture of his face on the Megadeth album. If you look up the
What the fuck?
If you look up the Megadeth album, you'll see a face of like a kid that's his face is like
All beat up
bleeding,
as
like
shit.
he's just been battling. And if you compare that face to the adult version of Donald Marshall, same fucking dude. And he said that was after like a clone battle or them doing like a arena shit where they fucked his ass up.
Clone Wars.
Yeah, it's wild, dude. Cause like you remember the movie, like it gets like the technology gets deeper. Like you know that movie Avatar
Yeah.
with the blue people. Like you know how they're able to like sleep into that little tube, and then their consciousness would
Transport into the blue
transport
body.
to the blue body.
Yeah.
They said they were doing that technology. Like his body was sleeping, but he was in a physical body, like moving around, like in the arena,
Yeah.
fighting and shit.
Oh, so that's how he was like, okay, so it's like taking his consciousness and
Yeah,
in a kid's body to fight.
right. So
Holy
they were
shit.
able to transfer his consciousness, like just like through the air, just like what's that shit? That movie, that show, Altered Carbon,
Okay.
where they would switch like their memory from like one sleeve to another sleeve.
Yeah.
Robert says, like Yu Yu Hakusho. I guess I never seen that.
You never seen Yu Yu Hakusho?
No.
Oh my god, man, that's a classic anime.
Yeah, I know.
But you never seen it on Toonami?
I never seen it. I just know they had a dude with cool ass hair. He shoots a gun out of his hand.
Yeah, she's the spirit gun.
That's all I know.
I didn't know this.
Shell Shock says blue people is such a derogatory term. But yeah, the blue people.
It's sky-colored people. It's sky-colored people.
The blue people with the little scales on the back. They have little tails. Yeah.
So they was doing some Avatar shit with the
They were
clones.
doing Avatar shit. I forgot the term that they use. Let me see. Oh, they call it REM-driven consciousness transfer.
Oh, like REM. Oh,
Yeah.
that kind of makes sense.
So when they're like in deep sleep, rapid eye movement, deep sleep, their consciousness would be transferred over to like a clone body, which would be their body,
Yeah.
and everything feels real, but they're in a completely different body from their original body, and they were
shit.
able to do this like since the 1940s. That's how wild this technology is.
They've been doing it, man.
Yeah, like all this fucking sci-fi shit, like the sci-fi shows are just catching up to what they've been doing like since the 40s.
It's because they're trying to prepare us, man. It's like, hey guys, like, you think time travel's crazy? Wait till you see it in real
That's
life.
still crazy.
It's fucking insane.
They're like, oh yeah, we got human cloning too. Like what?
Human cloning, and we send the clones through time travel and everything.
Like if you think about it, like with the political people, right? In high power, like if you look at some of the behaviors of some of them, it's weird. Like for example, like Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Like when we first saw him, like with Biden,
Biden.
or with Obama, right? He seemed like a normal dude. Like as far as like I saw, but then like as you see him now, he's deteriorating. Like
He's old.
his weird. Yeah, he's old, but his behavior is weird. Same like with Hillary. Hillary, her behavior was weird. She was doing a lot of weird shit. Like, what the fuck is going on? So what Donald Marshall was saying, like before all this, because he was talking about this like 2011. He was saying like with the clones, right? There were like defects in a lot of the clones. Like they started like showing signs of like aggressiveness and signs of like just like they were glitching out, you know, like they weren't acting right in public. Because I mean they didn't fully like made it like super like a solid clone. Like it's just it's a good clone. Like it looks like them, but it's like mentally
Something's off with it.
It's off. Like for example, let me give you an example, because they clone like celebrities too. Like he said they clone celebrities. Let me give you some examples. Like if you look up the YouTube video, right, of Shaq, basketball player Shaq,
Yeah.
and you type in like Shaq face freezes, in a live show on TV, you'll see Shaq face fucking frozen,
They just zoned out.
zoned out, frozen. And they're like, what the fuck happened to him? Like it's like his face completely shut down, but it looks like nothing is inside. And then he comes back in out of nowhere.
The update, he's gonna update.
Yeah, so I was like, oh shit, Shaq has a clone too, and Shaq's probably like at home, but his clone is on fucking TV talking.
Oh, if they was smart, if they was gonna do clones. All right, this is back to like a little bit to Metal Gear Solid a little bit. Okay, so it's like I was talking about before, right? With Solid Snake and Liquid Snake being clones of Big Boss.
Yeah.
What it was is like, okay, by the last game of the series, at least in chronological order, Metal Gear Solid Guns of the Patriots, Solid Snake, who's always been a guy who's like maybe by this time in the game, the fourth entry of the game, he'd have been somewhere like in his early 40s, but he looked like he was somewhere in his 60s or 70s, right? Mm-hmm. He looked like an old man, had all his problems, back was hurting, he's always coughing. Come to find out was that them be like, this is like a brilliant way if you're going to create clones, in my opinion, in order to keep from anybody else getting a body or trying to reclone it or whatever. These clones, like such as Solid Liquid Snake, were living on borrowed time. By the time they hit their 40s, their age was going to start rapidly happening. So they was going to die a lot faster. So even though Solid Snake was like 42, 43 in the fourth game, he looked like he was 70, like old as shit. And it was basically just like, that's how genetically he was created. So like, hey, like we want him around just long enough to create like, influences and whatnot. But once they hit that certain age, boom, they're going to die. And when they die, nobody else can use their genetic clone or anything like that. We're trying to just end everything. So I say this to say this. If they're going to create clones and just have them in place, just set like a limit for like, say if Joe Biden's a clone, right? Why the fuck would you keep his ass around that long?
Which he is.
Well, they need
it's just the face of all that shit.
They need to dump his ass and bring out the new batch, the one that could.
That would look like obvious too.
I mean, yeah.
Like some of the batches are good. Like you'll get a good Biden one day, and then the next day you'd be like, "What the fuck is that?" That's a try-hard Biden.
And Biden be like, all right.
Oh, he falling down the stairs.
Biden be like, all right, my fellow Americans, I love you guys. And he goes backstage and like, they shoot him like, all right, wrap him up in a rug, bring out the new one.
It's like, get that fucking carbon copy bullshit out of here.
Get him out of here.
That trash Biden. Yo, don't cancel me. I hope nobody takes this video and just chop it up and make it look like I'm saying crazy shit.
I voted for Biden, so y'all can check my voter record.
He voted for a clone. That's what
I did. That's what I wanted, man. I was trying to get the Clone Wars started.
Clone Wars. Okay, so Marshall. All right, so Marshall remembers visiting a secret military base as a young child, though he didn't realize he was a clone at that time.
Okay.
So back then, he didn't know. He was a kid. He don't know what the fuck he was looking at because he was in his body. Everything felt real, but it wasn't like him actually being there. He was actually in bed sleeping, but his clone body was in a fucking underground base, like doing shit for like adults. Like
what?
Doing acts.
Like tricks?
You could call it tricks.
Yeah.
But he was doing like adult things with adults.
Making a clone butt.
Yeah.
Making the clone butt
clap. Yeah. Bob says they made him write songs. Yes, see, Bob knows a little bit about it. Or maybe Bob knows about it. But
what?
Like they would fuck with him so much, torture him, whatever. Like he started singing He started singing. And then they're like, hey, that's kind of catchy. Like, are you like this fucking magic singing kid? Mm-hmm. He's like, I don't know. So he started writing songs, right? Mm-hmm. As a kid. And a lot of the songs that he said he wrote was like bangers for a whole bunch of artists. Like Britney Spears, like Rihanna, like the Umbrella. How you say it?
Rihanna?
Umbrella song.
Rihanna?
Yeah. He wrote fucking
Umbrella.
Yeah, he wrote a whole bunch of rock songs. He wrote that one song by Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
He wrote a Guns N' Roses song. He wrote a lot of songs.
When the fuck was this? He did all this shit.
Yeah, he wrote
70s?
then like he said he even wrote the Hotels in California song. You know how at the beginning they were saying like you can check in but you can't check out. Mm-hmm. It's almost like if you like sell your soul to them, like they own you forever. Like you can keep dying, but they can keep on cloning you, and your conscience will be transferred to them.
Yeah, who was that? Journey? Was that Journey? Eagles.
The Eagles.
There you go.
Yeah, so he wrote a whole bunch of songs so they would stop abusing him because he was like the golden egg that laid all the song lyrics and shit.
Damn. He's like, all right, guys, I got a good song for you. Oops, I did it again. It's like, we love it. We love it, kid.
He got all these hits.
Damn.
And he was giving examples how clones they would like the defect one that would go crazy, right? For example, Britney Spears. You remember when she went to that phase, she shaved her head and shit? Mm-hmm. That was a crazy clone that flipped out. That didn't even know what the fuck was going on. Like, realized, hey, what the fuck was going on? That's when the clone freaked out. She shaved her head. She's like, okay, what are you guys gonna do now? You guys can't market this, like shave their head and everything. Because later, like Britney Spears, right? I think she tried to like tell the public, but she really didn't know how to tell the public. But if you looked at one of her music videos, Britney Spears, she released a song maybe like 10 years ago. It's called Break the Ice. It's an animated video of Britney Spears, and she's actually breaking into like a genetics lab and destroying like clones like that's building in like they're all in the tubes like
this is something she did?
Water tubes, yeah.
The fuck?
Her music video called Break the Ice. If you look it up, you'll see her breaking all these clone tubes.
I never heard
of
or
her
seen
body.
this.
Yeah.
I never heard or seen this.
It's crazy. Like she'll break in, she'll fight like the guards, and she'll blow them up and shit.
You seen it?
Yeah, I saw it this morning. I had to look it up.
What the fuck?
I looked it up for the show. I was like, did she really make a music video about going into a clone lab?
I gotta look this shit up.
Yeah, it has like fucking like 11 million views or whatever. But
where was I at? Like, damn.
I didn't know about it either.
What were we doing?
But like I guess that's another way of her like telling the public like this shit is going on. There's cloning labs in the military, like under military bases where they're actually cloning people. And another person that also talked about these underground cloning labs was Tila Tequila, the Asian girl.
Oh god, but she's fucking nuts, so.
Yeah, she's nuts, right? But she actually spoke to Donald Marshall when they were both down there, and they were in the cloning labs. They saw everything. They saw all the bodies or whatever. They all described like the same shit.
She a clone too, or no? She's just regular people.
I think she might be like a clone too, like later, because they did like after like she tried to expose it, right? Because she told Donald Marshall like on Facebook or whatever. She said, "Hey, I'm gonna talk about this on the radio," and the minute she talked about it on the radio, like she had some type of like a illness, like she was attacked by something. I mean, I don't know. I think she almost died or shit. Yeah, like she went through some medical shit where she almost died, and they didn't know what the fuck happened. So I think that was an attack like on her, which I don't know. People were saying like it's because she was talking about like the cloning labs, but she's not like a person that's like people would really trust like that. You know, but that's why, like, when I saw her talk about it, I was like, wait a minute, that's kind of weird. Why would she talk about that? Because, like, she's not even famous, but she wants to be, like, famous, so why would she, like, destroy her whole career talking about that?
Yeah, because that shit was like, shit like that would kind of like, man, the people look at you crazy as fuck.
Yeah, like, they'll look at her sideways and say, dude, you're, like, barely famous, and why do you want to destroy your career like that? Because they fucked with her, too, and shit. And the dude said that he wrote the one song for her to sing, but he said that her voice sucked. So like, you know, like her voice wasn't like good enough. So they gave that song he wrote to Rihanna instead.
I can see that happening.
Yeah, because she's Tila. She's not a good singer. No, she's not made for that. She's made for being a clone.
Yeah, and looking hot. I mean, I don't know what she looks like now, but she was like a
probably
big thing back in 2000s.
Probably a clone.
They all just dumped the old one and got the new one.
Yeah,
I remember she had the reality show back in the 2000s where it was like.
Yeah, like
guys and girls were competing against her.
Yeah.
Remember that shit?
That was like the only big thing she did.
That's like the biggest. Like I think she was known as just like being hot before then.
Yeah,
the reality show was like, which was good. I saw the first season, I guess.
Because like Donald Marshall, right? He said like after like the whole shit happened or whatever, like she stopped like messaging him talking about the clone shit. Almost like she was like trying to use him to bring that shit out, but then it didn't work out for her. Like everybody just really thought she was crazy. Nobody really took her serious. But then Donald was like, yeah, I mean, it's real, but it didn't work for her like when she brought it out. Because other people that were talking about it wasn't just her. There was other rappers, like B.O.B. was talking about it. He was saying like, dude, this is real. They're actually cloning people, and I feel like I'm one of the clones. B.O.B. saying he felt like he was one of the person that was cloned there. And he started speaking out about it. But you know when B.O.B. started talking about like flat earth and shit, nobody took him serious.
That was when it started, man. That was back in like the damn, how long? That might have been like maybe early 2010s now I think about it. But I remember when that shit unfolded, because I used to be like a huge B.O.B. fan. And
why'd you stop being a fan?
He stopped releasing music. He just don't release shit no more. As far as I know, I got his first 2 albums. If this is a third one, I don't know. But
I mean, you can still be a fan. I mean, just because it's like retired.
no, I still follow him on YouTube. YouTube, Instagram.
Hey, we'll get him on this show. Watch.
He'll do it. He's a cool guy. He's from here.
Really?
Yeah, he's from Atlanta.
He might live in Decatur. I'll catch him one day.
Around that martyr.
Catch him on the West Line. That's the hood line. Shell Shock says it was like 2010, 2012. What are you talking about?
Talking about with B.O.B. Because I remember when he came out on Instagram about Flat Earth. And then I remember seeing Tila Tequila came out with it. I was like, oh, shit. Okay, this is where it starts. And that's when Neil deGrasse Tyson had Neil deGrasse Tyson had to step in and try to correct B.O.B. at one time. It was chaos. It was the battle over Flat Earth. It was an insane time.
All right, so back to cloning. All right, so like how they were doing it. Okay, so Marshall, he says that deep level underground, like the entire floor was human clones, like grown in dark, suspended water. Like they were suspended in water, stacked in glass tubes. Okay. Marshall reports that the grow rooms are dark, dirty, reek of the smell of urine. He explains that the elite selecting the best and disposing the rest. So like we said earlier, they would pick and choose the best clone and then they just throw the rest out. Mm-hmm. Like if one had like a 15-inch cock, they're like, nope, too big, too obvious, get rid of it.
Get rid of it. He's like, he might hurt me. What about that one? 9 inches? Cool. Keep him.
3 inches, double that. We'll make 2 more.
Like throw the rest of the 12 embryos we got out, toss them out, and
one got 2 butthole. I'll take 3.
With 3 butthole?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, three of them.
Oh, okay.
3 of them with 3 buttholes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That room gonna be funky.
I'd be like, make one with a lazy eye.
You know? So it just wanders off, like.
Yeah. So it feels like you're all alone in the room because it's not paying attention to you.
No, that is strange.
Yeah.
They don't need to give you no clones.
That's psycho. People talk.
It is.
Yeah. So they say they were growing these clones for as little as like $30.
Jesus.
Yeah, because they only need like a couple of like gallons of water.
It's like a fucking used tire.
A glass tube that they made from like a Home Depot glass building store.
The fuck, that's a used tire, bro.
Yeah. They drop a couple of droplets of like fucking magic crystals. I don't know how they fucking.
I'm about to say, what do you feed it? Bread?
No, they feed them through a tube, which would contain a whole bunch of
nutrients, I guess.
Athletic green proteins that they would put through a pipe, a tube. They'll feed through their
pump
stomach.
It up.
Yeah, we're not sponsored by Athletic Greens.
No, not even close.
They're too expensive anyway. I don't think you guys want to buy it.
No. If they was paying us to promote it, I'll take it though.
Yeah, because they're gonna give us free.
Yeah.
All right, so Marcher further explains that there are many kinds of cloning technology used to grow different types of clones. In replication cloning, top secret scientists create the ideal conditions in labs for a new life grow, resulting in perfectly formed baby clones. However, this process is time-consuming, as baby clones will still need to grow and develop as human babies. So what they did was they made a different way for them to grow these clones more rapidly to where they don't have to watch them grow from a little baby to a little adult. They went from like little baby adult like within a couple months. Like you would get like a Britney Spears in a few months.
Hey.
Full size. You can already use Britney Spears in public.
Fresh batch, man. Get rid of the old one. The one that shaved his head, get rid of it. Let's bring out this new one.
Get that wild one out of here. Just like Kanye. Kanye could have been a clone too. I believe like he is a clone.
I've been saying this since after what's his album? My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. That's when after that I was like, oh, this motherfucker is.
He became a clone?
Either he was a clone before that, or
he might have been, and then there might have been that crazy clone that did that concert where he fucking snitching everybody.
Oh my god, talking about Jay-Z and shit, yeah.
That might have been the one that said, hey, cut that motherfucker out. Get that clone out. Because that clone is too close to the real thing. Because I think they probably did kill the real Kanye.
Actually,
R.I.P.
A friend of mine, like, because we started off like years ago back when My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, like one of his last fucking amazing albums came out, right? And after that, we seen how he was acting like out in public, and we were like, holy shit! Like, what if the real Kanye is actually not what we're seeing on TV? The real Kanye is in the basement,
trapped like fucking that one movie,
like in like Kardashian's basement of the mansion, and he's tied down there with the real Bruce Jenner,
Tea Party,
who is Caitlyn Jenner now.
Yes,
that was our theory for like the longest. It was like the real Bruce Jenner, real Kanye in the basement, like tied back to back in a chair, like an '80s like action movie. Like, how are we gonna break out of here? And then
it's like, that's not me.
And they feed him bread and water like once a day. That was our theory from way back when.
Cause there was like he would say celebrities, they would like music celebrities, they would give hints like in their songs about, you know, human cloning or whatever. Mm-hmm. For example, like Eminem, remember he had that song The Real Slim Shady? Mm-hmm. And then he had the music video where there's a whole bunch of clones of Slim Shady, like who's the real one?
It was at the MTV Music Awards. It was like all the white dudes with like blonde hair and white shirts and shit.
Right. I mean, like back then when we watched stuff like that, it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, a lot of white guys at that time, they would blonde their hair and they all look like Slim Shady and shit. Mm-hmm. So we would never think like, oh, that's some involvement in telling us that human cloning exists. Mm. Well, you wouldn't even think that even at that time, because that's just something normal people don't think about. So like, if you look at some of the videos of Eminem like in public, where if you type in like Eminem face freezes, like in public, his face would fucking freeze while everybody's talking, right? And his face it looks like he's on drugs and shit. But when he recovered from it, like when they were asking him about a question, like when he popped out, completely normal again. Mm-hmm. But then like before that, his face was fucking like locked. Like he looks like a fucking zombie. It's so fucking weird, dude.
Hey man, what if it was like that movie Get Out? Like remember, like their bodies got taken over by white people, and it's like camouflage to like camera. Right. Whatever it's like that, and from the cameras, like the clones are like reboot.
Yeah, it could be just like that, dude. Just like the movie Get Out. Like maybe the
flashlights kind of throw
director
off.
Of Get Out. What's his name?
Jordan Peele.
Maybe his really into that Hollywood scene. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure he knows something about like deep Hollywood dark secrets, mm-hmm. where he know a little bit about what's going on. Mm-hmm. Like maybe he does know about the cloning shit, and maybe he knows about how people are being brainwashed. Like a lot of the big celebrity rappers like Kanye, maybe he might be under some type of like hypnotizing shit to where he's not really at this one place at a party. He's actually at home in somebody's basement, fucking having a tea party, and his brain, his conscious going deep, deep, deep into whatever zone he's in, which is scary. I can't imagine that. That's scary.
No, you should watch the show Key and Peele. Like,
yeah, I do.
You do? Like, and like this guy. You ever seen the one where it was like, there was like a sketch where you're like Steve Urkel who took over like Family Matters, but you wound up finding out through this whole like this skit or this whole sketch that Steve Urkel was basically like mind controlling everybody behind the scenes. Like he had like psychic abilities to like where because originally Steve
I didn't see that.
It's one of my favorite sketches to have, right? Jordan Peele, he plays like Carl Winslow in the sketch, and he sounds just like him. And doing a sketch, you wind up finding out like, well, originally in the real world lore, Steve Urkel was supposed to have been in one episode of Family Matters, like, and he was supposed to be that was it. He's like a throwaway character, but he's supposed to be around as like the nerdy neighbor who was in love with Laura Winslow. But the audience loved him so much, they kept bringing him back, and he became like the fucking main character of the series, right? So like they did like like Key and Peele did like a sketch where Jaleel White, who plays Steve Urkel, he's actually like MK Ultra type character, where he's been mind controlling everything this whole time to keep the show going. That's why he took over the show. But it's like some weird shit where like, and we all love him, and we don't realize that he's some kind of like
so they all like
psychic ability.
Like, poke fun at like the idea of
the most extreme like conspiracy shit, but
right,
it works for me, man. I like it.
I just like the best way to put it out is like in plain sight.
Make it funny, like, and then you think about it.
Don't try to hide it. Like, okay, let's just show them whatever. They're not gonna believe it anyway, you know. Mm-hmm. They're not made to believe none of this shit anyway. Like another example is like one of the YouTube videos of Al Roker. Like his face was frozen. Like we talked about it when the lady says, what she said.
Trigger word or some shit.
Yeah, she said the ghost of Christmas or something.
He's like, "Meow."
His face locked up, and then like, cause Shell Shock was saying like he remembered it was a big internet joke going around, and they all took off with it. But I mean, what Al Roker is part of that joke too, and Shaq was part of the joke. The other basketball player from Golden State, I don't know his name, something.
Kyrie Irving.
Traymon Raymond. What?
Jesus Christ, man. Kyrie Irving.
No, not him. It's another one.
Flat Earth?
Golden State. Raymond Trayvon Groman. Fuck, I don't know his name.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I think it's about like Flat Earth.
He was a basketball player.
I think it's about like a Flat Earth dude, Kyrie Irving.
No, not him. The other guy. Draymond Green.
Oh, Draymond Green. Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at Draymond Green, you type up him frozen in a conference. Like they were doing an interview. And he's just laughing. Then boom, face pause. Mouth open a little bit. The guy's still talking. His face is stuck. Fucking stuck, dude. I was like, what's going on with this guy? It's so like it's like a machine. Like someone just put off.
What if somebody set off a signal to like pew?
Yeah, I mean I don't know.
Like, shut his brain off.
Obviously he was a clone because maybe like okay, he had that much money, right? He's like, yeah, like for like press conference, I just want my clone to do that while I go home and chill.
Be with the family or something.
Because like I think that's what they're doing. They're that rich they can be in multiple places at one time. Because if you think about it, like us, right? Like we're not like celebrities, but I still feel like I would live like a busy life to where like I can't go at so many places at one time.
That's when you send the clone out.
But when you see celebrities like what they're doing, it's like, damn, how can they do like all this shit at one time? But then on top of that, like playing a fucking crazy ass basketball game, but then do all these conferences and do all this other shit, like fucking interviews. They're everywhere.
You know what I'm about to say, and we talked about this man many times. The Rock.
The Rock.
This man, where he get the time for him to do all this shit?
He do like 12 movies like in 6 months.
And then he does a video of him eating like fucking pancakes and shit for lunch and eat like 300,000 calories or some shit in one sitting.
Yeah.
I'm like, where do you get the time for all this? Like, if I ate that much food, I'll be shitting for the rest of the day. But then you got like, hey, I'm going out to, because he has a house here in Atlanta now. And I think he's shooting a movie at Tyler Perry Studios. So he's like, hey, I'm here at this place. I'm at Tyler Perry Studios. I'm like, man, I just saw what you ate for breakfast, man. You just running around. I'd be taking a nap, but
I'm in a meeting for my new energy drink. He does so much. Like, how is he doing all this? I know he got like assistants too. They take care of his Instagram or whatever. All celebrities have that.
Yeah.
But all the movies he's doing, all the scripts he has to learn. I was like, dude, that's a lot.
His assistants ain't doing all that shit now.
I was like, do your kids know you? But he pretend like the kids know him because he'll post videos on Instagram, him playing with his kids.
The clone?
No, the real one. I think the real one is just home the whole time.
He just never left the house.
And the clones are doing all the work.
Just out in the world doing Fast and Furious.
The clones are doing all the work. Shell Shock says, and The Rock's not a clone, but he's not human at the same time.
He's somewhere in between.
He could be clone, not human at the same time.
I think he's like one of like the perfect clones where it's like, all right, you know, Rock, we're gonna allow you to have like multiple ones of yourself out there because you seem to be on the straight and narrow. You haven't done nothing crazy.
I would think cloning The Rock is difficult because like his features are not normal to a human being.
Nah, man. And he's Samoan too. I remember back in the day, back when he's in with the WWF, he had to get like, I remember one time when wrestling, he had to wear a shirt almost at all times because he had like I know it was like some glands in his chest or whatever, but his chest was starting to overinflate because like he's like some, you know, I think part Samoan or whatever, but they can get really beefy. But
so Samoans are aliens?
Well, not saying aliens, but like they have this thing where like their chest gets really, really big. Sometimes it kind of inflates, and then they get surgery done on their chest
to remove like water liquids.
I guess it was just something like that just builds up like fatty tissue. I'm not sure how it is, but he had to get surgery done to get that removed, and then that's when after
that sounds alien-like.
After a while, he's like starts working out even more, and he's like super jacked. I was like, did y'all get rid of the old Rock, the one who had the surgery? Because now it's just like
you guys killed WWF Rock. This gave us like Dwayne Steroid Johnson.
This new godlike being.
Yeah, like a walking goddess specimen walking among us and shit.
Yeah.
Fuck that, dude.
There's about 8 of them out there. It's about 8 or 9 of them out there.
Nah, it's cool. But I gotta take a leak, and then we'll finish the story. We'll talk about Hitler. If you guys made it this far, we'll talk about Hitler.
I knew it.
I don't know why that came in my head. Not gonna get us. Damn, that was super random.
All the things you say went into my head. That was the other one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Tattoo.
tattoo. They were like lesbians or something.
Yeah, that was a banger. Though,
Yeah, it was good shit.
That was a banger. You know what's another banger? Remember Evanescence?
Yeah, you know they just came out a new album.
Yeah, I don't care though.
Yeah, I mean, but it was good back then though.
If they came out with a podcast, cool.
Yeah, right. That's the new wave.
I don't know. Music now, like it's kind of hard to listen to.
Yeah, got back to the old shit all the time.
All right, we're back, guys. All right, back to cloning. All right, let's go back all the way to the beginning of how all this shit started. How all this cloning shit came like out of nowhere. All right, so Marshall, he claims that there are secrets that have been kept by members of the Illuminati for more than 70 years. A secret of such great importance as to the effects of lives of every man and woman and child on the face of this planet.
What?
Big secret. Big secret. He's saying that back then, right, Hitler, 1923, Hitler, he was named the leader of the new Nazi party. Following a failed attempt to overthrow the federal government, Hitler was arrested for treason. This was back like before World War II, all before all that shit. So while awaiting trial in prison, when Hitler was in prison, right, he came across this book in a library in prison. He reads a novel from 1871. The title was Vril, V-R-I-L, The Power of the Coming Race, about the master race of beings who call themselves Vrilia. So he reads a book about an alien race that's deep within the earth. They call themselves Vrilia. And as he was reading this book, he believes the story so much. Like when he got out of prison, he sent like a whole bunch of his people out in every single Asian country all around the world, searching for this fucking. He started digging holes everywhere, searching for this race, this so-called real alien race that lives underground. Right? So that's what started all this. He got curious. He said, "Hey, if this book is true, he believed the book so much that he sent out people to go looking for the shit.
Like, find this shit for me.
Yeah. So he ended up like in a place in Tibet, right? So the Tibet. You remember that movie, Doctor Strange?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Like Tibet, they were guarding some secret shit. Like here, he went to Tibet, right? So the story is like he made connections with a Tibetan Lama where they had knowledge about underground tunnels and caverns all around the world. This is the Tibetan people. They had knowledge back then about all these underground caverns all around the world. And they were protecting the alien race that's deep within the earth, the Vrilias. They were protecting them since the beginning of like prehistoric times, all the way back, the way from prehistoric times.
So Tibetan monks were housing.
They were like guardians.
Okay, over the
almost like the gateway.
Okay.
They were like the guardians. Like they
to
were
their world.
To their world.
Okay.
They were the only one that knew at that time. They were the only one that knew about this underground race. So the Tibetan monks in Tibet, they knew about this secret base and they guarded it since like fucking way back then. Like each generation was guarding it.
Okay.
That was like their purpose. They gave, they made kids. Their kids guarded the temple.
The kids will have kids. And
they guarded every single temple.
Okay.
And Hitler is like, hey, tell me about all this shit. Told the Tibetan, they trusted Hitler. They told him all about this race that lives underground and that whatever they're protecting. So what Hitler did, this guy.
Yeah.
He went down there. He met this race, right? And they actually made a deal to where Hitler, like for exchange for advanced technology, they made a deal where Hitler would give up human flesh, like human people, for them to consume. Because they said that the technology that the reptilians had, like under the earth, they didn't really need that technology. They don't really care for it. But if Hitler wanted that technology,
there must be something.
He has to sacrifice something, like which is human beings.
I see what you're going. I know you're going with this now.
Right. So Hitler's like, hey, we want this technology. Give us the fucking internet and give us all the electronics and the flying spaceships or whatever.
I will give you 6.5 million bodies.
Yeah. So legend was that Tibetan lamas guarded secret entrance to the inner world known as the Red Door. That's what they call it. They call it the Red Door. hidden within a palace in mountain city of Lhasa. So once a Nazi-Tibetan alliance was formed, the Lamas agreed to share with them for centuries, like what they've been helping to hide the indigenous race of lizards living within the planet, known as the Vril lizards. So after they made the little coup and whatever, they told the Nazis all about like the race that they were protecting the whole time.
Man, y'all should have said shit to them Nazis for real.
Yep. So like the base is like here's another thing, like Hitler he found out that the lizard race, right? They were the one that brought down the Atlantean race. Well, it goes crazy. Like he goes back to Atlantis times, and he said that they were the ones that fucking destroyed all that shit, destroyed the Atlantean base, and took over their technology, and they gained the technology of the Atlantean people. So they were, according to the book and whatever Hitler said, he said that the reptilian race was the one that took down Atlantis,
The downfall of them,
and they took over the technology and held it.
So they're bad guys.
Yeah. According to all this,
So then why the Tibetan monks would be protecting them? Unless they're bad guys too.
I think they don't have a choice. They're put in a position where they don't have a choice.
They will spare your people unless you protect us on the
It's like
entrance.
It's like lose. Like, okay, if you guys want like less bad shit to happen, you guys have to be like the guys that's gonna keep our secret.
It could be one of them things is like, hey, like you protect this doorway to get into our world. When we finally come out through this doorway and then just rain hell on this planet, we'll spare your people and your generation since y'all been watching us over for like fucking decades and centuries and shit like that. Because you know what I'm saying? Like you saying like the monks were always watching over them in their little tombs. Maybe he's like, that's the payout. It's like, yo, when they take over, we in the clear. We good.
Yeah.
I can't speak for the rest of humanity, but we was watching over them while, making nobody was walking to that damn doorway.
Yeah, but then like shit started, of course, going haywire. Because once you get like all the technology and shit, you just want more and more. Hitler wanted more and more. Because why do you think like Hitler, him and his army, they were so confident that they were able to take over the world? How can you be so confident like you can actually do that? Yeah. And the only reason I'm thinking is they had the technology for them to able to actually do that. They're like, fuck, we can take over the world right now. We can start our own religion, start everything all over. How could you have like big dick energy that big to fucking start fucking taking over countries like that? Like at one time, isn't that crazy? World War II, like, all right, we're gonna invade this country, and then this country on Tuesday, and then Saturday we're gonna take over that country.
Yeah,
isn't that a crazy time?
Shellshock actually brought up a good point. He's like, you don't protect us, you don't protect us and the entrance, we destroy the earth. Yeah.
Yeah. Because here's like the thing, like they're saying the real reptilians, right? They survived like the cataclysms that would kill the dinosaurs. Because they were underground. So they were there like when dinosaurs were there and after. Like that's how old like this race was.
They survived like an extinction.
They survived their extinctions like millions of years ago. So these dudes, they seen it all, man. They know what destruction looks like. They know everything. Their history is deep because all this shit is all written out. Not like our history. Like when did the human race start writing shit down? Like as far as keeping track of history.
I have no idea. I was about to say the Stone Age, but I was thinking about the Flintstones, like when they was chiseling shit in rocks, and I don't know.
Like caveman?
Yeah, I don't think that.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even that long ago. Maybe a couple thousand years when they actually started writing shit down and said, hey, we got to start tracking shit down.
Keeping records.
Or
what if like the monks were like, hey, we are guarding this area to keep them from coming out. Protecting it. I mean, I don't know, man. So, because I remember you saying before, the Nazis would run around the world. Like, and also, too, I have a theory on this, too. And I find it kind of funny how, like, just a small group of people or just an ideology can just all of a sudden rise up out of nowhere and amass this much power to where they become a threat to the whole world. And I think there were some countries who were kind of like, hey, we're going to fight them, but in case they win, we're going to give them some money to, like, to help build up their, expeditions and whatever. So if they find, we'll fund them. I'll say it. I think America was probably funding, like, a lot of the Nazis maybe expeditions, maybe going to Egypt and shit like that. Because if you think about it, they're going to war and doing all this other shit.
So you're saying the U.S. gave money to the Germans
hey, look.
for them to do these attacks?
No, not so much. Not so much for the attacks, but it's kind of like, hey, like you're already doing all these wars. You're fighting all these countries all throughout Europe, taking over territory. You know, we'll fund your expeditions to go to Egypt and find, you know, spirit. They'll go around the world to the Middle East to go find the spirit of destiny, go find all this shit. Because it's like, who the fuck was funding this shit? Like who else? It doesn't make any sense to me unless I'm maybe shitting in history. But I always thought about how okay, they're able to they were spreading themselves thin because you're fighting Russia. Well, you was working with Russia, and then you fucked Russia over. So then you got to deal with Russia. You got the United States, Britain, basically the big hitters of the world. You have to deal with, and you're sending people out on expeditions. Like, who is funding this operation unless there's some people who are the good guys who may not be as good as we think it is. Maybe like they're probably playing both sides. Like, hey, we're going to fight them guys, but in case they win, we're helping them fund, like, you know, if they win, we're going to come together.
Yeah.
Because I remember back around that same time in Madison Square Garden, they was holding like a Nazi rally back during World War II. There was like people in Madison Square Garden like, yeah, fucking Nazism, whatever, and just celebrating. I'm like, this was in America back then, and it seemed like there was some pretty well off people with money. So I don't know. It's sometimes I don't know. I always wonder, like, it's easy to condemn the Nazis for what they was doing, but I don't think anybody realized, like, or wants to even look into how many people had their hands in the bag trying to work aside with Nazis, low key?
Because they already know, like,
because they knew they was doing some shit.
Yeah,
like
I think so, because like if you think about it, like a little bit more, like just a little bit, like did the Nazis really lose that war? If you thought about it,
No, I never thought they did. In fact, if anything, because with Operation Paperclip, they lost, and then America got all the scientists. Russia got some scientists.
right. Did they get all the scientists?
Did they get all the shit? 'Cause I think
or was it like a transfer of like employees?
Yes, exactly. Like, hey, like you.
It's like, hey, you want to work in America? Like, oh yeah, they got positions open at NASA.
Like, we're gonna give you guys. You got a family? Cool. We're gonna give you guys a whole new identity, a house. Your name will no longer be
No longer Hoctor.
Schnitzelheim. It will be Smith. And this is your new family, and we're gonna set you guys up, and that's where you guys will be forever. And you're gonna work for us with NASA or whatever the fuck crazy ass clone shit we got going.
Yeah.
I can see it, man. It's.
So the Nazis.
I don't think it's cut and dry.
It's a rebrand in America as NASA. It was just a big rebrand.
NASA. If you turn the S sideways, looks like a half of a swastika. Looks like half of a swastika. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I was thinking about that. It's kind of like,
It's like, sure, the story is cool. Oh yeah, the American, like, they took all the German scientists. Like, no, they chose to go there after they beat you.
I've always,
Maybe this is just a speculation.
well, I think just like the way Hollywood like paints like the picture of like how America was in World War II, it's very black and white. It's like good versus evil, and if there's anything that anybody knows how war works, there's literally no good guys or bad guys in war. It's just that's my enemy, and I'm doing what I think is right, and vice versa. But there's no real
Yeah, because every country is fighting for themselves.
for something for everybody for something or whatever.
So who is the real bad guy?
Well, trying to wipe out Jewish people is bad for sure. But straight up, I'm not saying that. Let me take it back.
Light up the gas tanks. The gas chambers.
I'm not saying that what they was doing is right at all. That was fucking horrible. But I do think that America is probably like behind the main theme of things. That America intervening with Nazis wasn't just because we need to stop the bad guys. They was probably seeing like, holy fuck, these people are building all these weapons. They're going on all these expeditions. What are they doing in Antarctica for? Why are Nazis out here? They know something we don't know. So we need to take them out, do what we got to do, and grab as many smart people from their side and roll them over to us. That's just my opinion, because if you're going to have a war, wars aren't going to be fought. Nowadays, wars aren't fought to try to save people's lives or try to do the right thing. It's like, hey, if I'm going to go to war, what am I going to get out of this? What's my benefit? I think that's how it is with World War II. Like, they weren't worrying about no damn saving Jews. It was like...
Yeah, they're trying to gather fucking fiber optics fucking technology.
Yes.
They're like, imagine if you can send digital money through a cable line from Georgia to France in a second.
In the split
They're
second.
like, fucking kill 100 million people. We'll take it.
We'll get it, and then we'll figure out all the kinks later, but...
It's like, how much people you want to eat? 10 million? Got it.
We got you. Just go. See?
Hello, Africa.
It went straight to the ding dong.
Hello? Yeah, that's crazy.
We
Right,
said,
so Marshall, he talks about like we're going back to Marshall. So
Yeah.
he talks about the shit called body snatching. You ever heard of that? I know they made like a movie called like
Body Snatchers. Yeah. That's like the alien movie. Yeah.
He said it was actually a thing. Like these aliens were able to snatch bodies, and what they were doing, they would like inject your brain with some type of liquid to where like you actually die, but they're able to transfer the conscience like in your body, and take over your body, take over your memory and everything, and act as you. They call that like body snatching. They said like some of the big political leaders they were like victims to this shit of body snatching. Is that scary? If that's real?
I mean, yeah, hell yeah. I mean, so then you just got
Because like Vril, right? The alien people.
yeah.
His story is like they're all walking among us right now, and they hold like power in like the political scenes. They hold power like in the Hollywood scene. They hold the power in like the White House. They hold power like everywhere for them to actually control the narrative of everything. They would manipulate shit to where they can get their people in the White House or their people in like China or whatever. They would tell stories like how they infiltrated like Atlantis with body snatching technique, where they were trusted by the Atlantean people as one of their like guards or whatever important role that they played. But they pretended to be like like one of the Atlantis people, and they fucking wiped out Atlantis because of body snatching technique, and they took out like my people for that.
What if like
Yeah, they took out my people for that.
what if like on some wild shit is like I feel like there's like for every 10 people, there's probably about, if you count like in a row of 10 people, out of those 10 people, I think maybe 3 or 4 of them probably would sell out real quick for their own safety.
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm thinking like this. So with the Vril, maybe they're not so much hiding in plain sight, but it's kind of like in the movie Blade, where they have vampires who during the daytime they sleep and all this other stuff, but during the working hours of the day, during daylight, you have humans who are police officers, lawyers, fucking other shit. They call familiars, and they got like tattoos on them. So it's like they got humans working for them. It ain't just like them out there doing the work. They have people who like there's like in the Blade franchise, it's like there are humans out there who believe the vampires are gonna win this war, and they believe that hey, I'd rather be on the side of vampires than being fucking cattle. So what if that's like with the Vrils, like hey, like they're not necessarily behind in plain sight, but they got humans like doing the shit for them, like because like there's like humans like yo, they're gonna win no matter what. I'd rather be on the winning side than human side. Sorry, humans, but I'm selling out. Get like good luck.
Like a way you can tell like one side is trying to gain power is when you see like acts of desperation. Like if that side is really trying to win to get their power in there, and you can tell like when they start getting desperate, they start doing like weird shit, like like in the political campaign where it starts looking like kind of sketch, like really why are they doing it like that? That's like you can tell like that's like a sign of like somebody from like not human would be somebody trying to infiltrate like the campaign, because it's not even like normal human like for them to do like such behaviors where it just looks weird. It looks not smart, like not a smart move. It looks more like desperation.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you kind of like.
Yeah, like let me just give you an example. I'm not into politics or whatever, but like I saw a sign of this, like even before I knew about this cloning shit, is when I saw when Biden was interviewing what's her name? That rapper.
Cardi B.
I thought that was kind of weird. That was a weird move because Cardi B has nothing to do with like anything. She's almost like she's just like influencer, like rapper. So when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, like are they just trying to take the easy route and try to like get that audience?
I would say that. Actually, you know what?
I thought that was weird.
I do think I would say this though. What you just said? Like they're just trying to use her to get like bring in the audience or whatever. Of course, I'm
pretty sure they could give a fuck about her, but
that's exactly why they like. It's kind of like, hey, we're gonna bring fans of Cardi B into like, hey, let's go and get them like politically woke and then get them to vote for Joe Biden or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But I remember a couple years ago too. Because believe it or not, like somebody like Cardi B, you would not think this. She actually kind of followed politics really fucking closely. Because I remember a couple years ago too, she interviewed Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders was like, and I guess it's like trying to get like people who may be fans of Cardi B. Let's get the people who don't really know. Like America can be different outside of what we have right now. And I don't know. So obviously she's being utilized to bring in people to go out and vote and all that. I mean, that's the name of the game. But it's not the first time she's done that with a politician. That shit with Joe Biden, I thought was kind of...
It works on both sides, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just one side over the other.
No, but I was
because,
thinking...
like, what this guy, he spoke about, like, it doesn't matter, like, what side. Both sides is both bad. Both sides is both bad. Like, it's whatever. Because he said he saw, like, Trump at one of these parties, at the Illuminati parties, where they had the kids and stuff. And he said, like, Trump, he invented, like, some shit, like, for the babies, like, to suck on, like, some type of pacifier, like, back then. Like, some weird shit. Like, you wouldn't even think, like, how would you come up with a story like this? He said, like, Trump invented, like, some type of pacifier where it's not, like, the shape of a nipple. It's the shape of something else that was more natural for a baby to suck on.
A dick? What?
Maybe.
I'm not saying that's...
I don't know.
That's the first thing that popped in my brain. I'm not saying that's right, folks.
But,
I'm sorry. That's the first thing...
Yeah, he described like Trump like making something like that. I was like, that's a weird ass small story that you would just bring up randomly. So I was like, maybe like his stories are true. Like Trump was there.
That's a very strange story too.
Like pacifiers for babies and shit. I was like, wow, that's a weird.
That's very strange too.
Shell Shock says, in 4 years when I get my degree, I'll be your political analyst.
Please.
Yeah, dude. I don't know nothing about the political world.
I know enough about politics to make sure that slavery's not coming back, but...
I mean, but it comes back. Like, what are you going to do, though?
Shit. The
like,
moon.
even if you know or you don't know, like, how do you prevent that as one human being?
The moon. Got a ship on standby,
That's how, like,
man.
that's why, like...
Got a ship on
that's
standby.
why I don't follow it like that, because I was like, if it happens, it's going to happen. Like, if I watch or not, it's going to happen. Because I'm not... That's not my shit. I'm not in that party. I'm not the one that's fucking on the front grounds, like doing my thing. So I know if shit happens, I was like, oh, we're fucked anyway.
But when it hits the fan, you be like, shit. When it hits the fan, you be like, Chris, what's going on? It be like, my phone be like, boop, we're sorry. This number has been cut off. Like, I went to the moon. Like, I didn't.
Yeah, when it hits the fan, I'll be like excited because I don't know nothing about it. So I was like, okay, because humans naturally they lean towards excitement when something's boring. Mm-hmm. So when something exciting happens, like, oh, a comet's gonna hit Earth, like, oh shit,
I would not be excited.
Oh shit, it's going down on Friday.
I would probably
when,
accept it.
Shit hit the fan, like slavery happens again. I'll be like, oh shit, it's happening. Where you at, Chris?
And me, I'll be like, I've been working on the railroad. I'll be,
Ting.
They got me so quick.
Ting.
They give me a chance. Oh, shit.
All right, so technology. So according to Marshall, the lizards knew about Atlantean technology that was forgotten for over centuries. They were willing to disclose secret locations for a price. In exchange for ancient technology, the Nazis agreed to build underground structures where the lizards could interact with humans. In addition, they would provide the Vril with fresh supplies of humans to terrorize and consume. So, like, for an exchange for technology, the Nazis agreed to build underground bases for these guys and build, like, you know, like a center for them to deliver them fresh groceries, like human bodies. Mm. And in exchange, they get technology for it.
Right.
Because the reptilians like, man, we don't need this shit. Like, give us something we want to eat. Like, fucking, like...
We don't want your shit. We want human bodies.
Not just any human, but a human that fears us. They want to eat somebody that is scared. Because you know how, like, when kids are scared, right? The adrenaline in their blood is, like, way higher. So when you eat a kid when he's about to die, this is just what I heard. When you eat a kid when he's about to die, their blood, all the adrenaline flows in their blood, and then when they eat them, shit, they get like crazy as high.
You ever watched Dr. Sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought about just now when they killed that kid. That was like
That's where all this story is.
Fucking most horrifying part of the movie.
Hollywood knows, man. They know about the kids.
The vampires were sucking the soul out of them, like the little... It was something in the kids that's like him, like, oh, like a high, like, oh shit, this is good. Like, keep kind of...
A pure kid with pure fear.
No clone.
No clone.
Straight up kid.
Fresh kid.
Real kid.
Dr. Sleep, that movie was crazy. When I saw it, I was like, holy shit. These are more clues.
You ever watch the extended version? This is like 2.5 hours long. I did it. It makes a lot of stuff, but Feels good.
Katie Long says, "Have no fear, for I am here, boys."
What's up?
You're late. We're about to clock out.
Showed up at the tail end, Katie. Why do you do this?
We're about to clock out. So man.
Good to see that you're doing good, Katie.
Donald Marshall, look him up. He has a website. Well, it's not his website, where it's like a fan-made website where they talk about all his stories about him doing the whistleblowing, him talking about microchips, him talking about the human cloning centers. He talks about the reptilian aliens underground. He talks about Hitler, everything. So
Hey,
Hitler plays an important role, like with all that cloning and human genetic modification.
On experimentations, yeah.
Because even today, like with CRISPR technology, Jennifer Doudna, the lady, the face for CRISPR technology.
All that shit's Nazi shit, dude.
Her last name, Doudna, D-U-N something DNA. Like the last 3 letters of her last name is DNA, right? Like what are the odds of that? But she said, like, you can watch the documentary on Netflix. It's called Human Nature, where you can hear Jennifer Doudna. She talks about her dream where she actually saw Hitler visit her in her dream, right? And ask her about CRISPR technology. He was like, "Tell me about CRISPR technology." And that's when she realized, she's like, "What the fuck have I done?"
I'm doing the work of Nazis.
Yeah. So let's say, because 1940s, Hitler, he was experimenting in everything from aliens, remote viewing, to whatever, MK Ultra, to fucking time travel. So he was able to fucking go in the future and visit that lady that's living today, visit her in her dreams, and get information about CRISPR technology. And he was able to do human cloning back then in 1940s with future technology.
They was trying to do gene therapy back then, or
Yeah.
they would inject like Jewish people with like iodine in their eyes and try to change the eyes from like brown to blue.
Really?
But they was like making them go blind and shit. Or
That's like monkeys doing experiments.
that was like the early stages, but they was doing like, hey, we're gonna use them as test subjects to see what will work. Like I think there was 4 boys. I remember they castrated 4 boys, and then there's actually like you can hear the song on YouTube. They're like the 4 boys sing like a song together, like a quartet or something like that. But they sound like females because their balls were cut off.
They're
But
castrated.
yeah, they castrated.
Like
Shit's
Michael
gone.
Jackson.
What? It's castrated. That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, that's why he kept his voice like that.
I didn't realize.
You didn't know that?
I don't know.
Yeah, his dad chopped him up.
Man, we'll say that for another episode. I don't know nothing about.
I thought everybody knew that. That's how he kept his high pitch.
Oh, I mean, we got tiny balls, maybe, but
No, it was done manually to him, where his balls were fucked up, to where he didn't really reach puberty like that. I don't know how it all works.
I don't know
He was chemically castrated. Yeah,
what is it? Castrated?
he was done chemically. Kate Long says, you boys discussed the magnet sticking to COVID injection sites. Like, what do you mean? Like magnet sticking to patients or what?
Like I was thinking like a magnet for the fridge, or
You know what I heard about people that got COVID? This is just what I heard. They said that people who got COVID, they don't have dreams no more.
what?
Like they can't remember dreams.
I guess probably say that. That's most people anyway. So
Yeah, just start asking people that had COVID. Ask them like, do you still dream?
I mean, I know some people that got the shot and they can't they're constantly tired now. It's like
Yeah, that's the vaccine though. But I'm talking about the people that got the virus.
no, I'm talking about who got the virus, COVID.
Yeah.
They suffer from fatigue. And I was like, they're constantly tired. They had to
Oh yeah, because their immune system is shot.
took a headshot.
Katie says, don't know if it's true, but it's been on the news.
It says, yeah, when they got a shot, magnets are sticking to them. I'm thinking about getting my shot soon. So
Like the vaccine shot?
apparently,
Are you sick though?
the fuck is it
You think you're gonna get it?
iron? Is iron in it?
Man,
Iron in their blood?
you're better off getting COVID like naturally
I'd rather get the shot too, though.
than get the shot and get something you don't know.
I just want to get the shot and be like, you know what, guys, this is the first person you've seen,
Why though? What's the point of the shot?
and I could touch you, and you'd be like,
But you've been
look,
you're around me this whole year, over a year. You haven't got sick yet. So why?
oh, maybe we had it and we just don't
Why
know.
now?
Maybe we just had it and we don't know.
Yeah. So then why add extra shit?
Because I want some extra layers of thickness.
Of what? I'd rather just get sick normal. Like give it to me. Like make me
'cause
sick.
I
natural.
want to give both sides of the story too. As somebody,
I
who's-
wouldn't gamble on putting something in my body.
somebody
You betray your own body. You know that.
somebody who's a part of the podcast. So once I get the shot, it'll make a good episode. I'm like, you know what? I feel good, guys. You know, And you see, if you see blood come out my nose, then
No,
we'll know.
you're gonna be okay. I just don't know the long-term effects, but just know you're betraying your own body because your body was holding it down for you this whole year, and then you want to fucking put in some new people in your body.
Yeah, I've been holding it down.
Think about it like that. Like your body,
And I went out of
you
state
didn't
too.
get sick this whole time. Or then you're saying like, body, like you've been holding it down, but let me just put a couple viruses in you and just fight these guys because I want you guys to be stronger.
What if it's the thing?
They're gonna fucking get so mad at you. Dude.
What if it's the type of thing is like the vaccine is built to take on COVID, but what if there's no COVID in your body? What's it gonna fight?
What?
Your own, like say like if you get the vaccine shot right, and you don't have like COVID, so it has nothing to fight. What if it's built to fight? Then what's it gonna fight? Like you? Will it like attack your white blood cells or some shit? I don't fucking know. I don't know.
People do get sick after it, so I mean it all depends on your body too.
Actually, I gotta check on my dad tomorrow. He got his vaccine shot today. So I gotta check on him tomorrow.
It's just like a flu shot. You get a flu shot or whatever, you might get sick, but then you'll still live. But like I was like, why go through that if you're already straight right now?
Oh yeah, so Shellshock says a good point. Says
because you never know what the fuck is in that shit. 1 year, one year it could be like something crazy.
Shellshock says, "I'll let you know when I get it." It says, "I've had measles, mumps, and I can't see the rest of it. Or smallpox." But okay, yeah. So people are like, when you go in the military, you will get some crazy ass like gnarly shots. One of them in particular is the smallpox vaccine shot, which literally caused you to get smallpox, but it's contained in one area. I think I don't know if I still got I still got a bruise on my arm from it. Basically, it makes like a circle of it's like a circle of dots that's filled with pus or whatever, and it's extremely itchy. But basically, they give you smallpox to like, boom, inject in your arm, and then for like the next like week, your arm is like it's got a circle of dots that's filled with like whatever, and if you scratch it and burst it, it'll make it spread in your body. So that's why they tell you don't touch it. If you take a shower, don't let it soak in water.
Excuse me.
So I don't know. I mean, I see what you're saying. I was like,
those make sense though.
Like that. I mean, this vaccine shit. This is stuff like smallpox and everything else like that and measles. They've been around for like fucking centuries on top of centuries. This shit is. I mean, I get the nervousness behind it. I really do, but I don't know, man. I feel like it make a good episode for me to get the shot and then.
No, Bob.
I'm doing it for the views.
Bob already got the shot.
But like for us, here,
I don't get why people want to get the shot though if they're not getting sick. Like, what's making you guys want to get it? That doesn't make sense to me.
It's all about the hype. No, I'm just kidding.
Like, do you think like you're missing out on something? Like, if you don't do it?
No, like right now they're saying like
that's what I don't get. Like the thinking behind like, okay, I'm not getting sick. Like, why like influence my body to something new?
Well, and that's what somebody was asking me the other day. They was like, "Man, Jones, you haven't got your shot yet. Like, what are you waiting for?" And I was like, at most, I'm at work, home, podcast, and occasionally my parents' house. Like, I literally don't. It's very rare if I do anything outdoors around other people to put. Like, I don't put myself in predicaments long enough to even try to catch it. Like, my most risky.
What if it's just nothing? Like, it's just nothing. They just did that so you guys can all start back to normal life because they're like, oh, fuck it, let's just start over. Let's just give them like a vaccine that's not really anything.
That could be some shit because the CDC last week, and I remember I got the email at work. CDC was like, hey, mask. If you got the vaccine shot, you no longer have to wear a mask. And that kind of pissed me off.
Please. They're trying to start some shit.
Yeah.
Kate Long says, get a magnet. You will see if it's true. Boys debunking theory since 8 a.m. Wait, so she's saying that people that got COVID, like the virus, they got that virus,
shit.
like magnets are sticking to them.
With the vaccine?
I've never heard that.
I'll test it on my dad tomorrow. He got a second shot today.
No, but did he already got COVID?
No. No, he never had COVID.
You can't test them. You gotta test people that got COVID.
Oh, they have to have COVID? I thought it was like if you had the vaccine.
I knew some of that COVID, but they passed away though, so I can't test no more.
No.
True story. Coworker died from COVID. In the beginning, where they were killing people.
This was like day...
When they were putting on ventilators,
one.
when the ventilators were killing people.
Damn, that was that long? So it's been about a year now, because I remember you told me that story.
Yeah, when I heard
yeah.
they said they put him on a ventilator, I was like, it's not coming back.
Yeah, that was
his lungs are shot.
That's the ventilators were crushing people's lungs and shit.
Bob says, too bad I don't have magnets. Yeah, too bad, because you don't even have COVID in the first place, Bob. Let me know when you get COVID. I'll drop a magnet on you.
Stick it to your forehead.
Bob talking like someone that got vaccinated. trying to say is normal.
I'm gonna try it though. We'll see what the hype is all about.
She's like, I didn't get sick. Yeah, but you took that risk. That's a weird risk. Like, hey, shoot me with some poison. Let's see if I make it. That's scary. Like, why would you do that? Your body's already helping you. Like, now you're like, hey, buddy, now fight these guys if you want to be so showing off and shit.
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
Toilet bowl.
That scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it, man.
Dude, you're safe.
My job is like, hey.
If anything, you would have got it from me because I'm in public with thousands of people.
Real shit.
If you didn't get it now, like, dude, trust your own body.
No,
like, you're straight.
But then what if you do get it?
Then you get it. It's normal.
What the fuck? I'd rather have the vaccine in me then.
No. Dude, if
I'm
you
talking
get
about,
it,
if I get it from you.
I know a lot of people that got it and they easily came back from it. You're okay. You don't need to fucking like put some extra protection. Maybe the protection is the bad thing. You just don't know. But why try it? Just get it naturally. Get COVID naturally. Katie says, these two need you, Bob, so you can read for them. We can read. Right? Green eggs and ham. All right, we're like super over. Like, this is almost 3 hours.
Oh, yeah. It's been oh, my God. These damn comments.
All right, we got to clock out, guys.
Yeah, I got to pee too.
Thank you, guys, everybody, for joining us on another episode of the Media Hijack. Make sure you guys rate and subscribe if you made it this far. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace out. Adios.
See you guys.